Hey everybody, it's me, John Ward, and I am back with Donald Wills for another film discussion. Yay, another film
Woohoo!
discussion. And today we are going to be talking about the Invasion of the Body Snatchers movies and other stuff.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! So, Donald, I have to ask you, if these were real things and we had clones of ourselves made, would this recording be done 2 weeks ago? We're
I
on
don't
the
know.
very
Are you even really John Ward? How do I know? How will I know you're really John Ward and I'm really Donald Rose?
You don't. How do you know that I'm really John Ward?
I don't know either.
Because we're and I'll let people know this. We're recording this on Sunday the 30th. Sunday the
Yeah.
30th, the last day of the month. This will go up on the last day of the month, so we could still say that we brought out a video in June. And we haven't even planned
Consistency,
for
man.
July
Consistency
yet.
rules.
Yeah, I mean, at least we're doing it, but it's like, yeah, we should have done this 2 weeks ago. But there's a
I
fair
know.
amount of stuff to look at, and we did go through the book, and you found something interesting with the book. So
Yeah.
I listened to an audio book. It's six and a
hmm
half hours. I got it from YouTube, and I would listen to
hmm
it at work while I was working, so I could do like an hour a day type of thing.
Yeah.
And to my knowledge, and from the research I did, this was the original novel by Jack Finney, The
hmm
Body Snatchers, which takes
Yeah.
place in the Bay Area, in Mill Valley, and areas around it. Because they even talk about San Francisco. They talk about all these areas that I know because I was born. Well, I wasn't born there. I was born in L.A., but raised in that area most of my life. So I know
Yeah.
all the areas in this book that he's talking about. But you've now told me something different. So
Yeah.
what is the difference between these books? Enlighten me and the audience.
So the original book was written in 1955. And the original title was just called The Body Snatchers. Invasion of the Body Snatchers wasn't even in the title at that point. So the only reason I knew this is because I bought the paperback version, and it says right there, it's The Body Snatchers. That is the original title. This is the 1955 text. Now, I guess in 1978, he did a revision of the text, changing some of the towns, some of the cities, some of the dates to a more modern, that at the time anyway, so like the 70s era, and he apparently changed the title to Invasion of the Body Snatchers to match the movie that came out a year after he originally uh, released the first book, the original text.
Okay, because yeah, I'm looking here at the back of the movie. It says 1955, and you're saying that he did a rewrite of it. So the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I believe, was 78.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
78.
it
So
would
then
make
that would
sense
match the
because
remake.
maybe when that movie was to maybe get some people interested in the remake of the movie, he went ahead and did now I'm just going by what I think probably happened. I could be completely wrong, so don't quote me on this. But I think what happened was when they were going to remake the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, he took the opportunity. Hey, let me make some more money off of this. So he went and revised it, made it modern, and changed some of the town names to like a more like modern town name or whatever. Changed the dates and the car models and all that. Because when I was reading it, I how I read is I listen to the audiobook while I read it. And the whole time when I did the version you sent me on YouTube, I kept it kept like there was things changed and it was throwing me off. So I thought maybe okay, maybe I just don't have the right one. So I went on Audible and purchased the audiobook. And then which was called Invasion of the Body Snatchers as well. It was the same thing I that you sent me on YouTube. So that's when I found out, because I read the very beginning of the book. This this is the science fiction masterworks version. It says both the film and book versions sometimes have an alternate title, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This edition, which is this version right here, reproduces um, reproduces the text of the original edition rather than Finney's 1978 revision. So, if you guys want to get the original version, this is the version you want to get. This is the 55 version. If you want to get the 78 revision, he re-released it, and it has on the title Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
That's interesting, because so then that means that the town that is in the original movie is correct.
Yes.
So, which is a like a city that's in LA, not the Bay Area, which is in the version I saw, which is Mill Valley. So
right there, it says Santa Mira right there.
I figured they changed it because the film is shot in LA. So you wouldn't call it Mill Valley, you would call it Los Angeles or an area of LA.
In the original, the black and white version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, they do still call it Santa Mira.
So that, because I remember when I was a kid, you would always come across those like sci-fi nerds that would be like, the original movie, it took place in Marin County. It was in Mill Valley. And I'd be like, really? And they'd be like, yeah. So whenever I would watch the movie, or if I watched it with friends or something, I'd be like, that's meant to be Mill Valley. And that's been the thing the whole time. You're the very first person I've ever heard bring this up. So that's why I said, let's talk about this, because I find that to be very interesting, because then that 78 rewrite would then match the 78 remake, because you have Kevin McCarthy's character not coming from LA, but coming from San Francisco, basically, or coming from Mill Valley into San Francisco, where the remake takes place. So even though movie wise the towns don't make sense, but I guess if you read the book to the remake, it then would make sense. Because even in the remake, they said that before we get into all that, what did you think of the book? Because you said there wasn't much of a difference. Like, it's more wordy, the town has changed. Except for that, I think we could still talk about it.
Yeah. I think out of the 4 films that were made, the closest adaptation that's faithful to the book is the original 1956. Is it 1956 or 1955?
It's 55. Yeah.
Okay, mine says 1956, so it's right around that time. The original Invasion of the Body Snatchers is probably the most faithful to the book.
I would agree. Yeah, there's direct stuff.
All the other ones kind of do their own thing. Like, out of all 3, I will say Invasion, both the remake and the remaster, are basically trying to take elements from the book. Well, the 1955 version of the movie, pretty much faithful, with a few exceptions.
It's kind of like the greatest hits of the book.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, because the book is, at least my version is 6.5 hours. This was 80 minutes. So they just kind of took from the book the best parts and put it into the movie.
Or what they could do at that particular time, because you remember back in the 50s, they couldn't do like all these different areas. I mean, they in the book they actually leave town, they come back, and then they do all these different things. So
I
there's a
got
lot of stuff that's like, okay, they probably didn't have the budget. Today they could probably do a faithful adaptation of the book if they truly chose to. You know what I mean?
well, you know, everything today now has to be for a modern audience. So,
Pretty much.
so I came up with my own. So after watching all of these, listening to the book and all that stuff, so I came
Mhm.
up with, so there's two ways another movie can go. So basically, it's woke.
Oh God.
And it would basically be that the spores come down. And like I said, this could go two ways. And it's, and I'll start off with this, that conservatives go woke, or woke goes conservative. So if you kind of want to do almost like a satire, like a dark satire, maybe you have the spores come down. There's like a big, like, I don't know, Trump convention or conservative convention. They got the MAGA hats, they got the shirts with Trump as Jesus Christ. They're all out there with the flags, and the spores get to them. And then the next morning they wake up and their friend comes over, and all of a sudden there's like a gay pride flag hanging outside instead of the American flag. And they go inside and there's all of these rainbow colored flags, and there's the gay pride flag, and you know, all this type of stuff. And they're like, oh my God, what happened to Bob? He was, you know, it did, where, what the hell? And slowly but surely you see the person with the MAGA hat is now wearing, you know, some sort of like gay pride hat or something like that.
Or a Joe Biden Harris
Yeah,
thing or
something
something.
like that. Yeah. And then, or you flip it and the spores come down and they land at like a gay pride parade, and everybody's got on, and we all know what the gay pride parade looks like.
Mhm.
And so I don't have to really describe it. So then the next day, like a friend comes over, and then all of a sudden they knock on the door, but they're seeing outside, wait, there's now an American flag out there. There's not the gay pride flag, is it? And they enter the house and it's like filled with guns. There's the MAGA hat instead of like a pride hat. There's basically all the cliches that you would have for each group. That person now is. So you have somebody before who might have been trans, and it's, you know, he, she, or, you know, them, they,
Yeah.
is, you know, so when the person goes, hey, they, what are you doing? The person goes, fuck you. How dare you say that to me? I'm a man. I'm he. And like, whoa, wait a minute. Yesterday you were they, them. And it could flip to the other side where like the conservative is now, you know, where the person says, you know, hey, he isn't that, you know, he's not that anymore. How dare you? I'm not, you know. So there, I think that's how we could do another one. And we could kind of poke fun at both sides.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
that
go.
way it's
Hey,
even too.
at least we're poking fun at both sides. You know what I mean? I just hate when it's all one sided. Everything. It's like, dude, come on.
Oh, so yeah, so do I. And it, you
Like
got to make.
if you're a supporter of Trump, make fun of Trump as well. You know, if you're a supporter of Biden, make fun of Biden as well.
Oh
Don't
my
sit
God,
there
for
and
that last debate, I think a body snatcher got into. Well, they need a body snatcher to get into him too. Oh God,
we won't discuss that debate.
no,
That was terrible.
oh my
I feel
God.
bad for the guy. I really do.
I mean, the amount of lies that Trump told to the amount of Biden's just being 100 years old is amazing. I mean, both were bad in their own ways, but Trump did seem to be a lot more with it. So, but yes, so yeah, that's a whole other conversation. Um, but it's so I didn't like the book.
Okay.
I get that. I get that people could take stuff from the book and make movies and TV shows and all that type of stuff kind of based
Yeah.
off of it. I thought, God, and I'm glad I didn't listen to the one that you had. I thought it was so freaking wordy that it was driving me nuts. I
It
get
was.
describing what a pod looks like because we've never seen one before, but it really was like I went into my room, I put on my sock. It was a blue sock. It had a hole in the bottom. I got that hole back 3 years ago when I was playing baseball and I was wearing thin socks to begin with.
Did you listen to the audio at the regular speed?
Yeah, I normally even on Who Goes There, yeah. It was all the same speed,
I
but that was a
I
short
had
at
to
least.
speed him up when I was listening to it, dude.
Oh,
I could not listen to him to one at regular speed. When I listen to audio, I do this with almost every narrator anymore, except for a few. If it's like, especially with horror, um, not to change the subject, but a couple years ago, I'll explain why I do this now. A couple years ago, I read the book Bird Box, and I
oh
had
yeah.
the audio book. And the lady that read it read the book so freaking slow. And she's got me she literally got me to the point to I can't even stand hearing the word kitchen anymore because she enunciated. She's like, there in the kitchen. Anyway, that's my little rant.
No, I understand that, and I actually look because I downloaded the audiobook from YouTube, put it onto my phone, so then when I was working, I could just have it playing through my Bluetooth. And I looked on my phone, is there a way of speeding this up? Because it really was like, why are you describing a sock with a hole in it that you got 6 months ago at a baseball game, and you're describing every single part of that hole and how that hole got there? And I'm like, oh my God, can you please
Get
just
on with
go
it.
on?
Let's get over. I mean, let's be real here. If I've seen the audiobook is only like 6 hours long, but this could have been like maybe 3.5 hours if they
Well,
just would have stuck with the story instead of having to go off on a tangent. Another example, remember the part later on in the book? I think they were it's the part where they get to Becky's house and they're seeing that her Uncle Ira and all of them were parked in the thing. Well, they get to the point where they're gonna go look at the into the window and they see them all sitting in the living room and they're like, oh, Becky came back into town. And then all of a sudden, Miles is like, oh, this reminds me of the time when I had a friend named Bill that used to shine shoes. And I'm like, why is this
oh
even.
my God, the whole shoe thing was driving me nuts. It's like, I get it. The
Like,
guy
why does
likes
this need to be in
shoes.
here?
Oh fuck, that went on for like an entire chapter. And like
Felt like it anyway.
why I get why this, like, if this was divided up into like several magazines, or like monthly kind of like Reader's Digest books.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to have to word, it's going to be wordy to fill it out, to
Yeah.
make it 4 issues or whatever.
Hmm.
So if this is the original, except for that updating, if this is the original of what it is, okay, fine. I would rather have that instead of an edited version. But because at least I could say, yeah, I've read the book. But
Yeah.
uh like it was so weird to
Hey,
me.
I still consider audio reading, okay? You're still having the book read to you, so it's still reading, it still counts. I don't care what anybody says.
I agree with that, because at times that's all you could do. I don't have time to sit at home for 2 hours and do it, so I listen to it in my car, at work, because I do a lot
That's
of the
how I get through
maintenance
a
at
lot of my
work.
books anymore. I'm allowed to listen to stuff at work. I throw an audiobook on and I listen to it.
Well, I did see, because for the fun of it, after watching The Puppet Masters, I did check to see if that book was online. And there is 11 and a half hours
Oh,
for the
wow.
audiobook on that. And
I
that's,
definitely like to read that one.
yeah, it's that I kept checking in the same way with the Body Snatchers, as I was looking at lengths, like different lengths, and they all said like 6.5, 6.5. A couple of them were shorter, and I'm like, I don't know, that may be edited. But all of the Puppet Masters is, and I hope that you did you watch The Puppet Masters? Did you watch that?
Are you talking about the one with the little puppets that kill people? Oh, wrong puppet master. Yes, I know the Robert Heinlein one. Yes, I watched that
I knew I should have checked up on you.
one.
And so I can only imagine the movie at the length. I mean, it's almost 2 hours, but what must be cut out of that film. And it's weird is I've never read it and I don't really know how the book works, but the covers for that book are all very much like they take place 500 years from now. They're all really science fiction-y, like there's spaceships flying around and
Oh, that's just a Robert A.
monsters and
Heinlein thing, man. I think he's all about like futuristic
well, so
stuff,
what's
dude.
I
So
wonder what the difference between the movie and the book is then.
we don't know. We'll have to check
So
it out.
yeah, I mean maybe I almost thought of we could do the read the book or audiobook and then come back and do like a separate video, like a follow-up video to this to see what the difference is.
We could do that.
Really with no time frame of just, whenever we got it done, we could just kind of do like a follow-up because I
We'll
I
do
am
film
curious.
discussion mini.
Yeah, exactly. And but yeah, this was the thing that I liked about it is that about the Body Snatchers is I know, at least the version that I had, I know all those areas very well. I've been to
Yes.
Mill Valley a billion times. He talks about, I mean, we would just say San Rafael, but he said like San Rafael. There's also, I think he even brings up Tiburon, which we pronounce incorrectly too, because Tiburon means like shark fin. So it's like Tiburon or something like that. So even though all of us have spent most of our lives there, we're pronouncing these places wrong because we're American. And so that all was interesting because I'm like, oh, I've been there. Oh, okay, I know exactly where he's talking about. But what I found weird, and even if this is an updated version to like 78, which would not make any sense at all, Mill Valley's very rich. It is not poor at all. And in the book, he made it seem like it was the friggin' ghetto. And I thought that was weird. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is when I thought it was the 55 or 54 version, that it
Maybe
was
back in the 50s, it wasn't
it was
as
a dump.
booming as it was back in the day,
Yeah,
or
it's
later on.
I mean, there's nothing in except for like Oakland and those areas which are across the bay. It's incredibly rich. It's very rich. It's a mini Hollywood. That's why all these celebrities move there. Um,
Well, I don't know if was Santa Mara is Santa Mara a real town?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
because
maybe
in
at the time he just based it on and then just kind of used that name and just made a small town because this doesn't look. It's more of like a small town kind of deal
I mean,
more than it's
it
actually a
is.
city.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a Mill Valley isn't a huge place. I mean, basically, I lived in Larkspur, and there's
Hmm.
like a whole bunch of different areas around Larkspur, and you would go over this hill, or you could take the freeway, and you would end up in Mill Valley. So, I mean, it's a decent size area, but it's not massive.
Yeah.
And in this, there is an interview with Kevin McCarthy that I think it was done in the 90s, maybe,
Okay.
or maybe even before that. It doesn't give a date, but it says, let's see, maybe it does. Yeah, special interview with Kevin McCarthy, but it doesn't give a date. So I'm not entirely sure when this is, but he's in the town. They had like a screening of the movie in Santa Mira.
Okay.
And so the interviewer asks him questions like, oh, was this shot here? Was that shot there? Was this shot? And he'd be like, oh, because they go to Bronson Canyon. That cave that they go into is the Corman Cave.
Hmm.
So that isn't Santa Mira. But for the
Okay.
most part, probably 90% of this is shot in a real location within,
Okay.
which is when I saw the interview after I watched the movie, I'm like, oh, okay, it is a real place. They didn't just make it up. But my thoughts were, oh, well, they can't, they're not going to use Mill Valley because it's too expensive. Maybe they'll just make up a place.
Yeah.
But I was wrong about that. I mean, they probably got some tax incentive or something to film here, to film in Santa Mira. So, but what did you think of the book overall?
I enjoyed the book. I do own the physical copy. Now, before you freak out, John, the reason I did this is because I got, when I bought the book, it said it was like new, and when I got it, it was all like beat up and the spine is all cracked and everything. So I did like a little kind of like annotating kind of deal.
Now, why would I freak out?
I don't know, because usually you complain about stuff like this.
Oh, with books, I don't care. I
Oh,
mean that.
wow, okay. I mean, for someone that freaks out about nailing things to a poster and stuff.
Oh, posters and stuff are different. Books are made to do that for that. That's
Okay.
you for
I thought maybe
schools
you
and
would. I thought
no,
maybe you would. You didn't like stuff like that. Anyway,
no.
I enjoyed it. I do agree with you. A lot of it was wordy, and a lot of it I feel like could have been like this could have been easily 150 pages. I mean, you
It
know what I
feels
mean.
like a novella. It doesn't feel like a regular book. There's
No, this is a regular novel. It's like 226 pages. Usually anything under 200 is a novella. But back in the 50s, a novel was like 100 to 150 pages. Because if you look at some of those old 1940s, 1950 books, I have a few. I don't have them here right now, but they look exactly like little paper thing. Oh, hold on. Let me
well,
see
I
if I
think
still.
also one reason way back when is so you could put them in your pocket. That's why
Yeah,
they were called
just like
like paperback
well,
pocket
this is not
books.
1950s. Well, it might be. It might be. Something like this. It was like real small. These are what novels
Yeah,
used to
you
look
could
like.
like fit those in like your back pocket or
Yeah,
your coat pocket or whatever. It's it's not until Stephen King that we get books that are like that friggin' thick, so where you have to tear the book in
yeah.
half.
So
Um,
this stuff like
so
that is what a normal book would look like. So seeing stuff like that now, this is like I said before, this is a re-release, but they did do they released it under the Science Fiction Masterworks collection. You can see right there.
yeah, and I can see why it would be a classic and why
Yeah,
people would take from it. So it's and I really do believe that the movie is the best of the book because that
yeah,
there is a ton of stuff in the book that's not in the movie.
yeah.
And it's and I gotta ask, would it be that bad? Would it be
What's
that
that?
bad to change? I mean, if you're living in a world that doesn't have violence, as they point out in
Okay,
one of the
well,
films, rape,
I will tell
disease.
you though, there is a part in the book which you may remember. The one of the when Miles was talking to one of the professor, I think it was. I think it was professor. Yeah, it was the professor.
Yeah.
And or Manny, one of the two. Anyway, he was talking to somebody, and they literally said that they won't live past 5 years.
Which to me is also not a bad thing.
I mean, if you want to live only 5 years and not experience anything,
I posted when Avengers came out. I agree with Thanos. I absolutely agree with him. I've
you're the
hey,
villain.
I'm one of those people that was uh cheering on COVID. I mean, and I know that's bad, but I just don't think humans deserve this planet. I don't think that we've done anything good for this planet. We do things that are good for us, like make money, but it's like, have we helped
I
the oceans? Have we helped the
I
environment? Have
do
we helped
agree that
animals
we
or
need to be
insects?
taking better care of this planet. I do agree with that. I mean, I feel like, hey, I mean, there's things you can do. I mean, obviously, if not everyone's gonna change overnight, unfortunately. So, I mean, just maybe do the best we can do. Like instead of throwing paper on the road, take it to a trash can. Or
No,
if you can
they
recycle,
but people won't. They just won't.
yeah. I mean,
People who
I've seen.
smoke will just throw cigarettes on the
Oh
ground
yeah,
whenever they
just
can. They for some
right
reason
out.
they feel that it's their right to do it. You have countries where a woman wants to read a book and some asshole will throw acid in her face. It's like it's not it's I don't know. I don't think that we deserve this planet, and I don't think that we should start over again. I think that we should just give it back. I mean, look what
No.
happened during COVID. Very quickly, all of a sudden, deer and other animals started walking around the streets.
Mm-hmm.
The oceans were clearer. We could see more whales and things. It's just, it would be
Oh,
a much better place if even if we were all zombies and eventually died off because there was no more food. They could still, animals could use all the buildings and things to live in. They would adapt. So would nature. So
well
I
then,
just,
then again, I mean, you look at some of the stuff that even have you ever read like some of the horror stories behind recycling? I mean, they have an island out in the middle of the
yeah.
ocean of just empty bottles and stuff. It's like, dude, what are you doing? I've
And they have machines. People have created machines to go out there and collect it, and they won't let them. Instead, it's better just to have trash island, is what it's, I think, is what it's called, and just, fuck up the environment. So when on New Year's Day, I will watch end of the world movies. Always. I will watch The Stand. I will watch a zombie movie. I will
Mhm.
watch anything that's kind of end of the world ish. I will watch even something that's like The Rapture. I'll watch something like that.
Yeah,
That it's just, I just, so when Thamos is talking about, the snap, I'm all for it, dude. Go for it. And then when we're looking at something like Body Snatches, because you have like okay, the original The Day the Earth Stood Still. The alien comes out of his ship and he does have something that looks like a Swiss pocket knife. And an army guy, because we immediately go to fear in our brain. That's the first thing that we do is fear, because that's how we're programmed.
hmm
And the young guy shoots the alien and he has to escape, and he explains why he's here and all that. At the end of the movie, when he gets back to the ship, he has the Swiss thing and says, this was the cure for everything. Absolutely every disease. This has, like, each little thing is like the cure. You don't fucking deserve it. And he gets back in the UFO and takes off. Good for you. I wouldn't
yeah,
give people shit too who shot me. So
yeah.
one of the things that I got mad about with the book is its happy ending. And I did not like that at all. I think that when you have a book like this that's kind of has this dystopian type of thing going on, this kind of end of the world, I don't like how easy it is to get rid of these aliens. And I'll bring
Yeah,
that
I
up in one of the
mean,
other movies too, that it's way too simple.
yeah,
I don't think that there should be that happy ending, because that's not what the 50s was about.
no,
The 50, I mean, if you read all of these books, 1984 and Brave New World and all that, all these guys predicted the future
yeah.
and none of it was good.
Well, some of them had happy endings, but not happy endings in the way you would think. Like we lost, but eventually we did win. We eventually somehow won the war. Eventually, but it just took a lot more time than the book took. You know what I mean? Like in 1984, if you read, I guess the last bit, if you listen to the audiobook, it doesn't. The audiobook doesn't do it. It just leaves off where the main character lost. But in the audio in the book, they have the like a excerpt at the end where they show that they eventually did beat Big Brother, but it's not the way that Winston was trying to beat him.
See, I don't like stuff like that. Like Lucas, the original THX 1138, when Robert Duvall pops out of the earth and looks
Mm-hmm.
around, and it freezes on that, and that's when the credits come up. It's just a barren wasteland.
Yeah.
Like, oh, awesome. I've gone from one thing to another. But then when he did that special edition director's cut and he pops out, there's a city in the background. So now there's like hope. I don't
There's
like
hope.
that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
I really don't. And when you have something like, let's say, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds,
Mm-hmm.
there's no hope there.
No,
Like they
there's
drive
no hope
off,
at all.
yeah, with the birds.
And
Now,
I've heard from someone say there was an author, he's like an independent author, and he said first of all, if you want a happy ending, that is not true horror. That is a thriller. Thrillers have happy endings. Horror does
sure.
not have happy endings. When the horror movie or horror book or whatever it is ends, it is in a hopeless. There's either it's hopeless where nothing resolves, or the main character wins but everything's taken from them. They have no hope of, like, their family died. All their family died, even though she survived or he survived or whoever survived. At what cost? They just lost their whole family. Everyone they loved is dead.
Yeah,
So at that point,
that's what
that's even
makes,
worse.
yeah, because for The Mist, the movie version of The Mist is
Yes.
one of the
Yes.
greatest endings ever, and even Stephen
When I
King has said
first
it's
seen it,
better
it
than the
made me
story.
mad. It made me mad, man. But that was the whole reason for it, man.
Oh my God, it was just such an amazing, horrible ending
Oh,
that
dude.
it's,
Oh, man.
and it is
There we
because
go.
the story, they just drive off. They drive off into the
Yeah,
mist.
King kind of left it to your interpretation. And as a matter of fact, when the director of The Mist did that, and he did it, and he did the ending the way he did it, Stephen King actually did say, "I wish I would have written that ending."
He thought it was better than his. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I like. And the ending of the book of this is the spores realize that they can't take us over anymore. You know, they can't.
Quite simply, the great pods were leaving a fierce and inhospitable planet.
And they oh no, they made fun of us. And then they fly away into, the sky.
Oh no.
Bye bye bye. And I didn't like that because it's once again, it's too easy. You have an entire planet,
Yeah.
and it's this one little area.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we know that this, you know is, maybe it's still going on in France?
Yeah. Never
So
know.
but that's never implied. So,
No.
and I know that this is from one character's point of view in one area,
Mm-hmm.
but and I guess that they were going to kind of let people know what was going on, but yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that ending at all.
No.
um and I think I liked the stuff that was in the movie. I thought
Yeah.
that was fine. I thought that, and even if it was lengthy in description,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was fine. But
Yeah.
it's,
The
yeah, I
sense of
don't.
hopelessness that the main character has at the end of the film is more believable. Like they taken your kids, they've taken your wife, they've taken over everyone, or something like that.
Yeah, and that ending is so great, you know with Kevin McCarthy that it's, you know, it's iconic. It's a great ending that they continued it into the sequel remake.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
don't
so
find the
glad.
ending of this
I'm
one.
so glad you said it feel a sequel remake, because that's what it felt like. It did not feel like a remake, an actual remake. It felt like a continuation
Well,
more than
even to
anything.
part three, you could say that this is kind of a trilogy, that it's
Yeah.
just now kind of, this is now another area where this is happening. Um, but it's I liked everything in the movie.
Yeah.
And what I liked about this is that it's directed by Don Siegel. And
Hmm.
Don Siegel, which you may or may not know, was Clint Eastwood's mentor. So Don Siegel had directed like Dirty Harry and some other stuff with Clint Eastwood, and they were friends. And basically, Eastwood looked to Don Siegel as his mentor for when it came to becoming a director. So if you
Okay.
look at his very early films, stuff like, you know, Play Misty for Me and all that, they have a Don Siegel feel to it. There's kind of that.
Okay.
Um,
I did not
so
know that. Huh?
yeah,
I learned something new.
one of the things that I'm not buying, and it's from this interview here. Do you did you have it or did you watch it streaming?
I do have it. Do you want to go over like the movies we have? Do you
I thought
still
we could
want to do
do it
that?
as we talk about each movie if you want.
Okay. Well, you go ahead and show your DVD off.
Well, this is the Republic's Pictures version. There's another version of it that has a line down here, then it says
Okay.
something down on the side here. But this is, I wanted this one just because I think I liked it. It looked better, and I know it has the. Oh, this is it. It has this
Okay.
piece down it. It's yeah, that's what the other DVD that I saw had, the silver screen, and it's got a booklet. So it's got like the chapters in it,
Yeah.
and then there's like some stuff on the back. But what I found weird about this interview is Kevin McCarthy, he mentions that they're two different characters. So him in this film and in the remake sequel thing are two
Hmm.
different people. I disagree. It's always been known that they've been the same character. They just can't say it's the same character.
Yeah.
Even in the credits for the Donald Sutherland one, who's in the Puppet Masters, which I liked.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little node, or was it what, a little nod to
For the
his
original.
invasion.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but he says that they're not. But then in the Donald Sutherland one, it says like in the credits, like man running. It's the same character.
Yeah.
It's the same character. It is, because that's what connects the two movies together. He also says that the film is not an allegory on communism. Once again, I completely disagree.
That's
It's
what the
totally
people
communism.
interpreted the book as, a take on communism.
A lot of the books written at that time period,
Or
that's what they were, is that because it was all about the Red Scare.
yeah.
Even I Am Legend, my favorite novel by Richard Matheson,
Mhm.
is he's everybody, it's all about communism, is that it's
Mhm.
all about conforming and how he won't conform.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could even say that with Night of Living Dead, you know, which would be
Yeah.
1968. So yeah, so I disagree with almost everything he said in this interview, because other people have said the opposite. So what do you
Yeah.
got?
Well, because you showed me the pictures of what you got, I had to one up you a little bit.
Oh,
So
okay,
I
that's
got the
fine.
Blu-ray of
Ooh, who did that?
this is the Olive Films.
Oh, Olive is good. Yeah, I got a bunch of their
So it
stuff.
comes with a little box,
I
which
love
I
that
mean,
cover.
I just like pulling it out, just like so. That
Excuse me
is,
while I whip this out.
what's that?
Excuse me while I whip this out. Blazing
And then
Saddles
there's the
joke.
back, which has the iconic scene of him going through the highway, trying to warn people.
Spoilers.
I know, right? I mean, it's a 1955 movie
So
or
what special
my
features
version
do
says
you have?
1956, by the way. So I don't know if they got that wrong or.
Yeah, I don't know. Mine just says yeah, it says 1950. Oh, so this came out in 2002 is
Okay.
this version. So, but yeah,
Okay.
but it says here in a few different spots 1955. So I get it doesn't really matter. I mean,
Yeah, it is what it is, and it comes with a bunch of special features. I didn't have time to watch the special features. I did watch this on Amazon Prime before I got this because I found it on Amazon Prime, so I watched this first. But yeah, and it also comes with a little booklet.
man, I'm gonna have to pick
I
pick
guess
that up
it's
then.
I guess some like behind the scenes stuff. Again, I didn't really get a chance to read through this, so bad on me.
That's fine. No, I mean just showing it off is good because now I want it because mine has this red area. Oh, look at
Yeah.
all the special features. Let's see. Presented in the original theatrical version, not a special feature. Original theatrical format aspect ratio. That's also not a special feature. Completely digitally remastered from the original black and white. That's not a special feature. A special interview with Kevin McCarthy. That is a special feature. Uh,
Okay.
Full length pan and scan version also included, not a special feature. Um, Trailer, not a special feature. I mean, I guess. Spanish and Italian subtitle, or no, tracks, and then English subtitles, and Spanish subtitles. These are
Yeah.
not special features. Like two of these are special features. And
Okay.
and
Well, I'll give you what the special features are on
I'm going to
here.
become
It's
so jealous in like
new
2 seconds.
new high definition digital restoration, audio commentary by film historian Richard Harlan Smith, audio commentary by actors Kevin McCarthy, Dana Winter, and filmmaker Joe Dante.
Oh shit. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have
he's
to
a
listen
film
to that.
historian. So yeah.
The Stranger in Your Lover's Eyes with actor and son of directors Don Siegel, Christopher Tabori? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that name right. I
What? I
apologize.
mispronounce stuff all the time.
The Fear is Real with filmmaker Larry Cohen? Cohen? Larry Cohen?
Oh, Larry Cohen, really?
And Joe
Oh shit.
Dante. I No Longer Belong, The Rise and Fall of Walter Wanger with film scholar and author Matthew Bernstein? Bernstein?
He presented the movie.
Okay.
So he's one of the producers, but it says at the beginning of the film, he presents the movie. But
Okay.
I don't know anything past that. I don't know who he is
Okay.
beyond that.
Sleep No More, Invasion of the Body Snatchers Revisited with Kevin McCarthy, Dana Winter, Mick Garris, Stuart Gordon, John Landis, W.D. Richter, and more. The Fear of the Faction, The Body Snatchers Phenomenon with Kevin McCarthy, Dana Winter, Mick Garris, Stuart Gordon, John Landis, W.D. Richter, and more. A 1985 archival interview with Kevin McCarthy. Return to Santa Mara, an exploration of the film's location. What's in the Name on the film title. Gallery of rare documents detailing aspects of the film's production. Essay by author and film programmer Kirley James. I have no idea how to pronounce that. And original theatrical trailer.
Man, I am going to have to pick that up. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I seen this. I was like, man, I was like, well, let me. I bought it used, which I'm fine with, whatever. But I seen, and when I got it, I was like, man, it's a nice cover. It's got like a matte finish kind of deal. So
oh
definitely, if
man.
you check this
Yeah,
out,
I got
definitely
my
grab it.
Olive Films are like right behind me there. So I
Okay.
really like what they do.
I
All
didn't
my
know
stuff
about
is
all the films
DVD.
until I
So
seen this. I was like, oh, there's another run. I have to check them out.
yeah, there's another company that looks very similar called Martini, and it's a martini glass
Okay.
with an olive. And
Okay.
and so whenever I see the olive, I always think, oh, that's Olive Films, but it ends up being Martini. So
Okay.
they look very similar in their logos, but
Okay.
man, I want that. So
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely gonna dive into these special features. I definitely would like to check that out.
yeah, a lot better than
Before
this.
I didn't know. I don't know if I really showed it off enough that this is the book,
That's a cool book. That's a cool cover.
and there's the back. And there's the spine.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have
So
to see on YouTube if there is that version
definitely have
as
to
an
get the
audio
audio.
book.
I looked for the audio of the original, and I don't think they did an audio for this one.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
I'll keep an eye open, but I don't think they did an audio for it. Unfortunately,
Oh, okay. Or I'll just pick up the book and not be lazy. So there you go.
there you go.
There's always that. So basically, wasn't a fan, so we could go on to the second one. Wasn't a huge fan of the book. Love aspects of it. Love that the one that I have is Mill Valley. Um, love the first film. I like
Hmm.
that it's a tight 80 minutes.
Yeah,
And the beginning of the movie is the book, basically. I mean,
yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, man, this is so close to the book. Um, whoa, I wanted to mention something. Glad I didn't forget. My favorite part of this, the amount of alcohol they drink and cigarettes they smoke is amazing. I mean, that was like a key point of the 1950s is booze
Yeah.
and smoking. And it was, I mean, it's every second they have, they smoke. If they go any place, they're filling up a glass with booze.
Do you
I
think a lot of these films were sponsored by cigarette companies? Because they had to have been. As much as they smoked, they must have been paid by Marbles or whatever, Camel or whoever.
it's very possible. Maybe back then it wasn't as obvious, like where they're here, Donald, have this cigarette, and you see the front of it in front of
Hmm.
the camera. Maybe it
Yeah,
wasn't that obvious that if they're pouring booze, you could go, oh, that's Jack Daniels, but they're not just showing you the front.
yeah,
So maybe it's just not as blatant. So
it's
yeah,
possible.
yeah, because it is wow. This is not Leave It to Beaver. Even a film made for like 55, 56. This is
Yeah.
pretty, and not in the book. Because in the book, he kind of doesn't want to hang out with the chick that he's with until near the end. In the book, he's just trying to get laid. I'm sorry, in the movie, he's just trying to get laid. He's bummed
Yeah,
out that his
and the
friends.
book, he's kind of like they kind of go into like how they both just got out of a divorce and all that, and he's
Yeah, and
kind of like,
that
my family's cursed. We we I'm the first one that ever got married, and look what happened. Probably really pulling a pity party at that point.
yeah, but in the movie, when his buddy, I think his name is Jack, and his wife are hanging out at his house, he's kind of like, oh, yeah, I guess you could stay here. And he kind of looks back at the girl that he's with. Yeah, I guess my plans are ruined. Because all he's trying to do is nail her. I mean, until the running and all that starts, but that whole beginning, um, it's funny. But it's interesting that in the movie you can see that there are things that are from the book, they're just changed. Like the
Yeah,
little kid in the movie that runs out into the road and he almost hits the kid. That is in the book, but as a different person doing a different thing. But you
yeah.
could go, oh, that's that. They just kind of changed it a
Hmm.
little bit.
It kind of like it was kind of just like a mention. It wasn't even like a long scene. I think it was just like a mention of one. I think when he talked to the psychiatrist, it was like, oh, one one kid saying his mother's not his mother. Another lady saying her husband's not her husband. And that's kind of where they mentioned it at.
Yeah. And so the book is in a way of like the book for I Am Legend and the Vincent Price film, The Last Man on Earth, which are
Hmm.
both written by Richard Matheson. Matheson just used an alias for the movie.
Hmm.
Um, that is still out of the Omega Man and the Will Smith I Am Legend
Yeah.
and I Am Omega from the Asylum. It's
Hmm.
still the closest to the book.
Yeah.
And so like if you wanted to read the book, you could go into the movie or the movie to the book. And I think this is the same way that you
Yeah.
could listen to the book and go into the movie, vice versa. And you would be like, oh, okay. I see what they're doing. So
Well, I watched the movie first before I read the book because I wanted to have like a visual, especially with stuff like this, especially how wordy it was. I'm glad I did because it a lot of it would have threw me off if I didn't have like a face to the characters. So sometimes I prefer to watch an adaptation first and then read the book, especially if it's an older book, so I have a little more context.
well, I've seen all four movies, some of them a couple times.
Hmm.
So I just listened to the audiobook while I was watching them. But
Hmm.
like I said, it was at work on different days. So I
Yeah.
might be 2 hours into the novel, but I'm watching the 78,
Yeah.
invasion. So anything else that you'd like to mention for the original?
No, I mean I enjoyed it. I out of all of them, this is the only one that is pretty faithful to the book. Everyone else kind of does their own thing. So I think from the remake on is kind of like loosely based more than actually based.
Which I'm glad about,
Yeah.
because you could, I think, if you, because there is a colorized version of the original. So if you took that beginning scene from the 78 one where all the pods or the seeds are kind of floating through space, I
Hmm.
think if you put that at the beginning of the original, did the colorized version of it, or just made everything black and white, you could then right at the end with, they're here, you're next. Which is why did you watch the Halloween 3 season of the witch ending, or have you seen it before?
No, I didn't. I didn't get a chance to watch that.
So at the end of that, it's a doom movie. It is definitely a end of the world film,
Yeah.
because a warlock has the mask. There's a device in the back of the mask that's going to kill all the kids that are wearing it, and it's done through the TV. It's a 3 more days for Halloween, that whole thing. And Tom Atkins runs into a gas station, and he's like, "You got to let me use your phone." And there's a TV there, and the commercial is on, and he's calling like the TV stations, saying, "You got to turn it off. You got to turn it off." And one by one, they do kind of turn it off, except for one station. And he's like, "Turn it off, turn it off." And he looks straight into the camera. "Turn it off. We're all doomed. Turn it off." And then that's where it ends.
Okay.
So he does the Kevin McCarthy thing. It's
Okay.
very obvious of what they're going for. I mean, they've even talked about it, which I love that ending.
Mhm.
And so you could see where that
Is
whole
that an
thing is
alternate ending?
for Halloween 3.
Yeah. Or is
No,
that the original ending?
that's the ending. Yeah, there is no
Oh, that's the
alternate
ending.
ending.
Okay. I thought maybe that was not the way you were talking. I thought maybe it was an alternate ending.
No, it's just the ending
It's
to the
been a
movie.
long time since I've seen the third one. I don't think I've actually seen it the whole way through. I like one and two. I think I fell into the one that was just like, oh, it's not Michael Myers kind of deal. And I was like, but then I've heard a lot of people say it's really good. So I do definitely. I've seen bits and pieces of it, like from YouTube and stuff. I've never seen it the whole way through. So I gotta correct that at some point.
It's become a cult classic. It was hated when it first
Yeah.
came out, but now
Well,
it's like loved.
now it's like now everyone. There's a lot of people that prefer it to any other Halloween.
Except for the first one, I would say. But it's so having, this is my DVD for it, and it has this paper on it here.
Yeah.
So that's mostly how you find it, is like that.
Hmm.
I think this was, and I think I got this at 99-cent store. I'm sorry, Dollar Tree.
Okay.
But this is the one that came out around Halloween, and you could get these at, I want to say, Target or Walmart, and they had all different covers on them.
Probably. Yeah.
This, I think, is one of the best movies ever made. this is an absolutely perfect film. Surprisingly, directed by Philip Kaufman, who's very hit and miss with me. But it's and you had mentioned, WD, Richter, and he was the screenwriter of this.
Okay.
And then there was also Buckaroo Banzai, two that he worked on. One of the great things about this movie is Veronica Cartwright. So she, of course, was an Alien. And from like Alien forward, you want her in your movie because she's just one of those people that you're like, oh shit, that's Veronica Cartwright. And then she ended up in The Invasion. So they brought her back for The Invasion, the fourth one.
Okay.
And then also Donald Sutherland, who's in this, is in The Puppet Masters, which I don't think was an accident.
By the way, we want to say rest in peace, Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really bites. I mean, he was one of our last great actors. So,
Yeah.
and he is great in this. So, and of course, this also has, Brooke Adams. The thing that I find funny with the original movie is, how much our lead character wants to have sex, but it's the 50s. So she kind of has like those stick out cone bras with like for her breasts and stuff. So they're trying to add some sort of sexiness to it, but it is the 50s. And then in this, we do get Brooke Adams naked because she's coming out of the pod and we see her breasts. And then in the third one, just Body Snatchers, our lead actress is naked too. We see her breasts. But then in The Invasion, no nudity at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, son of a bitch. You suck, director. You suck. And but this is probably Leonard Nimoy's best performance. God, he is good in this. You have no idea when he's changed. You have no idea that maybe he's this way from the very beginning of the film. Also, Robert Duvall, because we brought him up, is in this.
Yeah.
He's the priest at the beginning of the film that's on the swing. And Philip Kaufman talks about him. I have this only as audio commentary in the trailer, but the audio commentary is really good.
I was a priest?
Yeah,
the one who was on the swing was a priest?
Yeah, he's a priest.
I didn't put two and two. Now it makes sense why he's staring at the kids.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It does make sense. You are 100% correct. Wow. That is funny. Yeah, he was in San Francisco.
To all our Catholic viewers, I apologize.
Oh, I don't. He was just in the city making a movie, and he came onto the set to say hi, and Philip Kaufman's like, "Hey man, you want to be in the movie?" And he's like, "Sure." He took no pay. They just gave him the costume, and they just shot him on the swing as like the kids walk by.
Okay.
And he's just in the movie for some reason. But Leonard Nimoy was in a film called, and I'll bring it up here, The Brain Eaters. This is from 1958. So independently made American black and white science fiction horror film, produced by Ed Nelson and Roger Corman. So I need to buy this, uncredited. The film stars, includes a brief appearance by Leonard Nimoy. His name was misspelt in the credits. The Brain Eaters is based on the Body Snatchers. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I take that back. It's based on the Puppet Masters by Robert A. Heinlein, and it's uncredited.
Okay.
So there is a writer, but they don't say that it's actually based on a book or not. It could be based also on the Body Snatchers, but the Puppet Masters came out before. I believe, 1951 is when the Puppet Masters came out.
Okay.
And from what I've read, the Body Snatchers rips it off. But I just find it funny that here you have, once again, an actor who's in one of these movies and was in another film based off of a novel that, I heard it was based off of the Body Snatchers, but now I'm just reading on Wikipedia that it says the Puppet Masters.
Yeah.
Because it really is, yeah, because they're not seeds in the Brain Eaters. It's a UFO
Kind
lands.
of in the movie. Well, we'll get to that later. They kind of look like seeds a little bit when he opens up the crate. They kind of look like pods a little bit, but then they
Yeah, they're like these.
transform into.
Yeah, I guess
into
Brain Eaters would be more the Puppet Masters because the UFO lands and they look like rats, but they have like these long tails which go into your neck, so they're on your back. So I guess it would be the Puppet Masters. But I find it funny that Nimoy's in both.
Yeah.
So and then of course, you know, Kevin McCarthy is reprising his role. Yeah. Dies in the movie. And nobody seems to care except for our couple of main characters. So what did you think? Have you seen this before?
I have not seen any of them. I do have the Blu-ray.
So you got one up me. You got that. There's your cover right there. Son of a beach. Wow, man. I've had this for a very long time. I think I did get it at Dollar Tree.
When I first seen this, at first, I thought this was a slipcover. At first, when it showed it online, and when it came, it was just like yours, just the snot came off. I call the glue the snot, and it
does look like snot.
Kind of, I don't know if you can see it or not. You see how it kind of damages the front?
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
I gotta get a replacement case for this one because that's gonna bother me. But anyway, I just found this and I was like, oh, because I thought, like I said, I thought this was a slipcover, but it's not. Oh well, could be.
Excuse me. One more may be coming. Thank you. Does yours have the same special features? Just the audio commentary and trailer?
Yes. Revisitors from Outer Space, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Pod featurette.
No, I only have audio commentary and trailer. Why does your Blu-ray have
Practical Magic, the special effects pod featurette, The Man Behind the Scream, the sound effects pod featurette, The Invasion Will Be Televised, a cinematic pod featurette, and the original theatrical trailer. You don't have any of those?
According to the back, I don't, and I would have watched them if I did, because I watched all the special features on these.
Well, I guess get the Blu-ray then, because
damn, that has dude, because I only have mine's right there. I only have the two right there.
All in the blue there. That's all the special features.
Some beach. All right, okay.
Somewhere.
Shit. And I do like this better than the original. If you ask me to watch one of them, I would always watch
this. Definitely felt like I needed to smoke a joint while watching this.
It's very...
It's trippy, man. It's trippy.
They do at one point knock Republicans. I noticed
that. Yes, I know.
That there was a lie. So all the people in this I'm imagining are probably liberals or Democrats or something like that who made it. I mean, Philip Kaufman, I'm pretty sure is, and Donald Sutherland always played in the 70s the hippie.
You just reminded me of something. Hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. I think I marked it in the book. You might remember this when Jack and Miles are talking. They're like, "Do you know anyone in DC that can help us?" "No," I slumped back against the stove. "Not even a Democrat. Right to your Republican. Right to your congressman." They're kind of making fun of Democrats there a little bit.
Which is funny. Then they flip it for the 78 version and bring up Republicans. So that's which I thought was kind of funny. So it's everything in this. I think Jeff Goldblum is great in this. Yeah. I mean, I love that he's
very young Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, it's one of his. I think it's one of his earliest roles. Yeah, and I love that he's the jealous writer who can't get anything published. Well, Leonard Nimoy is just
this book's garbage. This book is garbage.
Yeah,
it's pure garbage.
But yet, yeah, you know, he's reading it, and yeah, Nimoy is just one of those sellout est type people that, you know, are cult
My,
people.
my favorite scene of that part where Leonard Nimoy's character goes up to Jeff Goldblum. He's like, "Hey, there's a girl with a blue and red dress up there. She's interested in your work." And then he looks around and there's no girl with a red and blue dress. I was like, "What a jerk! What a jerk!"
Yeah, their rivalry is really good in this, and
Yeah,
it's funny that they're friends with Donald Sutherland. So it's like the two opposites are friends,
yeah,
and it's interesting because once again, this is something that could kind of go two ways. You could almost say that with the way that people are acting and the way that they're dressing and everything could be more conservative, or if they went the other way of maybe doing like the Colts, they would look a little more hippie-ish or whatever, like
yeah.
maybe they didn't care about their appearance.
Mhm.
So but since this is 78, I believe what Philip Kaufman said was this is more of an allegory on the Colts of the 70s. So Jim Jones
Yeah.
and all of these. Est was a big one. I remember that.
Mhm.
Um there were all of these Colts out there, and that,
Yeah.
you know, if you weren't part of that.
Mhm.
I and of course this has the greatest frigging ending ever that has been it just as iconic, if not more, I think, than the original. That ending is so
I
great with Veronica
This is the
Cartwright
first
and
time. This is the
Sutherland.
first time I've actually seen a lot of these movies, like the whole way through. I've never seen the last two that you mentioned. I've seen like bits and pieces of. I think I've seen the black and white version once before, but I've never seen the remake of Invade. This is the first time. But I remember, I always wondered where that scene came from. Now I know because it's memed all the time. Like,
Yeah, and it's a really, he does it perfectly. I mean, it's I wonder how many takes that was. And I know that
never
area.
know.
I've been there. Just like the book that I have with Mill Valley, where I went everywhere. In this, because it's San Francisco, I've been to those places. I know those because, you know, obviously you know, stores go out of business and change. So I don't know, like the laundromat. I would have no idea, you know, what that is.
Yeah.
But those other, you know, areas, especially the ending, I've been there, you know,
Yeah.
a few times. So it's I just friggin' I love this film. It is so perfectly, and the guy with the banjo is, you know,
Oh,
whose face got put onto the dog.
yeah. Remember you were texting me and saying that you thought that was Jerry Garcia.
Yeah,
Apparently, the banjo you hear is Jerry Garcia playing. Is this? He did the audio for that, but the
that's what
guy's
I
not
meant.
Jerry.
Oh no,
Oh,
not the
okay.
guy. The
I thought you were saying the guy was Jerry
no,
Garcia.
the banjo that you
The
hear is
banjo
Jerry
part. Okay,
Garcia. There was
my
something
mistake.
else
My
that
mistake. I thought you were saying it was actually him because I was looking. I'm like, well, it kind of does look like him a little bit,
Oh no, no,
but I'm like,
just the music. And
okay,
it
my mistake. My mistake.
yeah, and I'd mentioned something else. Uh oh, I just made a comment that the original book takes place in Marin County, while the second movie takes place in San Francisco. Um, yeah, but there's Mill Valley. Yeah, so that's was the other thing that I was mentioning. So
Okay.
but the dog, yeah, because you know, it's, I think it's, who kicks his pod? It's one of the guys. It's either Sutherland or Jeff Goldblum kicks as they run.
It's it's
They
it's
kick.
it was Sutherland because because Jack that was right after he said I'm running off to distract the seed people,
Okay,
and
so
then
that's
he's
where
like wake up, bud, and then he kicked the pod and it started bleeding.
that's where I think the mix up came in. Like they became the dog, and the homeless guy became
The dog with
one.
the homeless dude's face on it.
That's
That
which
was
is
messed
really,
up, man.
think about it, that's 78. That thing
I
looked
know,
really
right?
good. That's a practical effect. So that's not digital or anything. That dog looked, with the human face looked pretty good, for
Yeah.
that time. And the pods looked really good. Even in the original, the pods looked really good. It's yeah, I don't now with the original film, I think with them discussing be one of us, you'll still be exactly the same. You'll just kind of have this kind of you'll just be free type of
Mhm.
thing. Where the second one is more of kind of like a like it's like euphoria
A
that they have when
takeover
there's
almost.
that it's so I don't know if the idea is that the film is using cults as its metaphor. I don't know if I would want to become one. I don't know.
Yeah.
In the first film, it's I'm kind of like, well, if it ends disease and rape and
Mhm.
war and all of that
That's
type of
kind of
stuff,
what he. It's kind of what they
he
were
says it
saying
too. Yeah. So I mean, I'm
in the
down for
remake as
that,
well.
but I'm not down for the cult thing.
Mhm.
You know, I'm down for
Yeah.
people being better, even if they have to be aliens.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get and it's I remember as a kid, seeing Brooke Adams topless as she's coming out of the pod. It was like boobies. So that was kind of a big deal.
You dirty old man, you.
Well, dirty young man back then. So, but I still liked it today when I rewatched it. So, because she's really cute, and it's nice because it's the '70s, so it's not that big of a deal. Because even like Donald Sutherland in Animal House showed his butt because he's sleeping with one of the students, and he has just a like a button shirt on, and he reaches up into a cupboard, and the shirt rises, and you just see his boaty ass. So it's the '70s. Nobody cared. Uh, uh,
Nah.
it's only now that they're all freaking bent up about shit. Uh,
Oh, you can't show that now.
no, no, you can't. So, anything else about the remake sequel?
The only negative I can say about it is I wish it could have been a little bit shorter. Like I think it kind of drug a little bit, but but all the performances were great. Um, the these the a lot of the visuals were you could definitely tell it was a '70s movie because they were kind of it was like focus on one like a tree branch here, and then all of a sudden it's the pod, and then all of a sudden it's a girl walking down the street. That's pretty much almost all '70s movies do that anymore.
It it
At the time.
it definitely
It was like
has
an
a
artistic kind of uh
yeah, almost kind
thing
of like a
choice.
documentary type feel, and Philip
Hmm.
Kaufman is more of an indie film director,
Yeah,
so
and
he
you
did
could
like the
tell, but
unbearable
that's
lightness
not
of
a bad
being.
thing. I'm not saying it was bad or anything. I just feel like maybe about 10, maybe 20 minutes could have been maybe condensed a little bit, just a little bit. But other than that, I would definitely rewatch it again at some
I
point.
I wouldn't say that length. I think my favorite part is the first half, but once they're actually on the run, I'm not as involved in it. But
Yeah.
I like the paranoia of it.
Hmm.
Um, and because that does go back to communism. Um,
When you see them kind of like break down into themselves when the pod makes a new version. That was pretty good. I liked how they did that.
yeah,
When he
that looked
picks
really good.
when he picks it was Elizabeth Driscoll in this one. The girl
Uh,
the Donald Sutherland at the very end when she becomes a pod person.
I don't remember their names exactly from the movie. I know them just more
Well,
vaguely.
anyway, it's her I don't remember I don't know the actor's name. The actress's name.
His kind of girlfriend, Brooke. So that'd be Brooke Adams.
Okay. So
And
okay,
then
Brooke
Jeff
Adams. Okay.
Goldblum's wife would be Veronica Cartwright, the chick from
Okay.
Alien.
All right. Well, the when she
And
when
his
she
name
turns
is
into the
Jack.
pod. What's that?
His name is Jack.
Yeah, his name is Jack. I think his was Matthew Bonow, and hers was Elizabeth, I think. Hold on.
It doesn't say here. I do have the
Matthew, Sutherland, and Elizabeth. Okay. Yep. So when Elizabeth breaks down and her body just breaks down and kind of like becomes like the dust or garbage or whatever it is it becomes, and then he looks over and she rises up out of the field and she's like, "Join us, Matthew. It's not that bad," or something like that. That was cool. That was cool.
She's so that was a huge plus. So, but I just thought I'm saying that Philip Kaufman is an independent filmmaker because he did stuff like Unbearable Lightness of Being, but then he also did The Right Stuff, one of the greatest astronaut movies ever made. So he goes between studio and independent. So he was probably definitely the right choice for this. So
Yeah.
The interesting one is the director that they got for the third. That to me was, the director of The Driller Killer and Ms. 45. He also did Bad Lieutenant with Harvey Keitel. So he is, and that's, so that's just the Body Snatchers. But it does say down here, the invasion continues.
Yeah.
So I've
So
always
it's kind of like a sequel to the remake, ish.
Yeah, it's just a different area.
Different place. Yeah.
And I think this bums me out because there is literally nothing on here. Can you one up me on this to let me know if there's a Blu-ray that has stuff on it? This literally has nothing. Okay, you one up to me. Okay.
Unfortunately, there is no special features.
Wow. That's part of that
So,
Warner Brother archive.
This is a Warner Archives release. Usually, Warner Archives doesn't have special features on it. Usually, it's just the movie. I don't know. All it has is the like subtitles and stuff, which I'm glad because hey, I need subtitles doggone it.
Oh, I play subtitles all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed that this doesn't have anything on it, but it is, I mean, so it's, yeah, Abel Ferrara is the director on this, who I thought was a very interesting choice. And the screenplay is Stuart Gordon and Dennis, and I'm going to pronounce his last name wrong, Poloi, but they both worked on like From Beyond. They're like Charles Band people, like Full Moon and
Okay.
Empire people. So maybe Stuart Gordon at one point was supposed to direct this. This is also screen story by Larry Cohen. He's one of the writers on this. So that's probably why he's interviewed for your thing, that why you mentioned him. Have you watched Larry Cohen's films?
I might have. Like I'm bad with names. Like if you mention like, hey, Joe Schmo did this, and I'm like, who? And then you show me a picture, and I might know who it is.
So he's one of these guys. He's kind of like Roger Corman in a way, where a lot of his films have subtext, but they're horror movies or monster movies. So he did a movie called like The Stuff, which was all about consumerism. He wrote Uncle Sam. He wrote Phone Booth. That was originally for Hitchcock. He also did like Q. He did the It's Alive movies, which alone were
I might have seen a few of them.
He's looked at a lot, I think early on is just as like a schlockmeister, but that it's kind of like how Roger Corman was, but then people started going, wait a minute. Like they started really looking into his movies, and it's like, this guy's got something to say. He's just doing it with a monster. And there's like a really good documentary about him, because even like the It's Alive movies, that's all about like chemicals and how these babies get deformed. So it's all about like medication and vaccines and pollution, and his stuff is great. His stuff is really good when you know that there's some sort of subtext to it.
Well, I will tell you, for you knowing a lot more about movies, a lot of the stuff that we watch, a lot of the stuff sometimes is my first time watching some of these things. So that's what I love about this show because just even if you've already seen it, I get to see some of the stuff sometimes for the first time, and I get to experience it. You know what I mean? So that's why I love doing the show with you, man.
Well, thank you, and I enjoy doing it with you too because it makes me look at the films in a different way. Instead of just watching them, I'm now studying them for this, and I'll do
As
research.
I'm more of the like, hey, remember that scene? That was cool.
Well, I'm like, yes, but that scene had the subtext of the of World War II and the when it's simply just a guy driving a bike, so it's
Yeah, but
but this
remember when the dude blew up? That was cool.
well, yes, but he blew up because of the anarchy within our system and our, you know, and the last one had Brooke Adams naked. This one has her naked. So Gabrielle Anwar, I believe is how you say her name. Um, this one is it also has like Forrest Whitaker,
Yeah.
and Meg Tilly. It also has Arlie Remy, which is awesome. Um, and but I don't think he's listed on here. No. Um, my big problem with this film, and I do like it, is what is the difference between being a pod person and being in the military? I don't think there is any difference. I like the idea of moving it to a military base. Um,
Yeah.
but what is like you're a regular kid who's in high school, you got the girlfriend, the family, you go out partying, you've got this personality, everybody knows who you are, you graduate, and then you say, I'm going to go into the army. The army then makes you like the exactly like everybody else in your platoon.
Dehumanitize. You know what I
No,
mean?
yeah, dehumanizes
Dehuman.
you,
Yeah.
and it turns you into like a military robot. And I'm not insulting people in the military, but it's the idea is that you're kind of like the Borg. You have the one commander that's here, the sergeant or lieutenant, captain, or whatever it might be, that's telling everybody else what to do. So there
Mhm.
really is no difference between Private One, Private Two, Private Three, Private Four.
Yeah.
That now your personality is gone, and now everybody knows how to use a gun. Everybody knows how to polish their shoes. Everybody knows, you practice in exactly the same way. You do the same
Mhm.
things. So I guess my point is, what really is the difference between the military and a pod person?
Evidently, not much.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I guess some because from what I gathered, this is more of like a boot camp kind of deal. It's not really a like. It seemed more of like a lot of people joining the army and just starting out becoming soldiers because a lot of them were like, oh, let's go to the bar and have a good time. Let's do this. Let's do that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think they haven't dehumanized him yet to the point to
Okay.
where they're ready for war.
Yeah, because they do have personalities in this. And even at a regular job, and probably you experience the same thing, they micromanage. So if you need to, like for me, I have to make phone calls on late storage units. They want me to follow a script. Everybody in that company follows the exact same script.
Yeah.
So there's really no difference between us when we're doing that because we're all doing the
Mhm.
exact same thing.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I like the commander's daughter. We
Yeah.
never meet the commander. Do we meet the commander? We meet Arlie
I don't
Remy,
think so.
but I don't think we
We
meet
hear,
the
we
commander.
hear his name mentioned, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So we meet the mother, the girl's mother, but we
Yeah,
never
because
meet
she's like an alcoholic or something. Yeah,
alcohol.
and
She's
of
like,
course
drink it. It's water. Yeah, it's water. She never drinks water.
she never drinks water. Yeah, and the daughter was from Chucky 2, Child's Play 2, and then she's been in the TV series also. She's also on 90210, I believe, the original Beverly Hills 90210. And I like the kind of boyfriend, but I like the dad's like, you're giving a minor alcohol that,
Even though
keeping
she
her
didn't,
out.
I don't think she even drank it at all at that point.
No, she was pretty safe and stuff, but pretty responsible. But the way that the guy handled it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So, because even her friends like laughing, and the other soldiers laughing. Um, the thing that I find funny with Meg Tilly is there is a nude scene, but it's obviously not her because the camera pans up, and we see her nether region, and it goes past the boobs, it goes up to here, cuts to the kid, the son, and then cuts back
And
to a
then you
close up
see
of her
her kind of
face.
covered from like
Well, and then it
from the
cuts
back.
to her face.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, oh, body double, cut. Okay, Meg, come in. Now we're just going to shoot your face. It's an awkward cut between, and it's kind of an awkward scene because that's like her kid. So,
Yeah.
which I guess is showing the difference between being human and alien.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't matter if you're the mother and you're standing full frontal nudity in front of your kid. I did like the kid. I like that. That's not my mom. I like him.
Her
This
mom
concept.
and dad.
My mom is dead. Yeah, that was wow. That was kind of heavy for that little kid. Yeah, I forgot about that. My mom is dead. He says it like 3 times.
Oh yeah.
So the dad's
I will say something about this movie though. It did feel, if you took the nudity out, it felt like a TV made movie. That's what it felt like to me.
okay.
So I don't know if this was theatrically
It
aired.
was.
It was okay. It doesn't, but it doesn't feel like a theatrical movie. You know what I mean? It feels like a made for TV movie.
That's why I find it interesting of who made it, even though this isn't a made for TV director.
Yeah,
It was an interesting choice for
yeah.
who this guy is uh to make this film. But yeah, I saw it in the theater. It's a Warner Brothers movie. And
Mhm.
so I saw it in the theater. And I think I hated it when I first saw it, but now I've come to like it. But it's I was around a bunch of friends who hated friggin' everything. And then I went back and rewatched those movies and went, shit, this is actually pretty
It's not
good.
that bad.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't get if they're already, yeah, like dehumanized
Yeah.
and programmed
Well, I
for the
feel like
military.
this is more of a like we took elements from the book and just ran and made our own thing. Like it still says it's I don't know if it
Yeah,
says it on the back or not, but I think in the opening credits it says based on
it does.
the
Yeah.
Body Snatchers. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking what they did is they just said, okay, let's make it loosely based on the Body Snatchers because
Yeah, I
there's no real like mention or anyone even resembling the characters from the book or the original or the remake.
no, and it would have been nice. I know that they probably wanted to separate it, maybe for copyright reasons, but it would have been nice to have
Yeah.
just one reference to
Maybe
the
have
other
Donald
movies
Sutherland
or
come
something,
in
or
as like an old man, give us like a little cameo or something. You know what I mean?
well, you
Like
could even say something, even on a radio, just have some announcer or like newscaster just mention San Francisco, and that would have taken care,
or maybe have like um you know Donald Sutherland maybe as like a priest or something, just saying like "You, the world's ending," something like that on the
but
TV or something.
he needs to be the same guy. Oh no, but he's already turned, so you can't have him in it. You need to do the
Uh,
Kevin McCarthy thing.
there you go. Have someone do that or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's but I mean the ending cracks me up when the little kid is all of a sudden an alien and they kick him out of the helicopter and it's a really bad like
It's a
green screen
bad
effect
man.
and the kid says
It's like
as he's falling.
it looks like he's literally just laying on a piece of green screen and he's like, ah.
Yeah,
It's like, dude, you
it
didn't even
cracked me up
try.
then and it cracked me up now because I remember it being so bad looking and it still is bad looking and but
Yeah,
it
it's
is
bad.
hilarious seeing him falling, just pointing his finger doing that as he's falling from the plane, which really sucks that because it's
And
like
it kind of
no,
looks, you know how like it kind of looks like they're taking the mouse and moving him around. They're falling down.
that's funny. Well, in this one, the seeds are in like a like a lake or a pond. So maybe they grow in the water.
Yeah, or the river or something like that.
Yeah, where the first
Yeah,
one
it's
was like the greenhouses. The
they were like
second one was
growing them on
green.
a farm, and then
Yeah.
some of
And then I
them
think the
were, and then
second was the
I think the
same.
original was a farm. The second one was the remake was they were kind of like doing it like a greenhouse kind of
They were all
deal,
the
and
greenhouses.
then this
Yeah.
one is like they're finding it in the water.
So maybe whatever hit also landed in the water, too. So it's just it's like when you watch like one of those alien films where it's all of a sudden we see like an alien resurrection. The xenomorphs could swim. They're just kind of adding to you know where they can show up instead of just doing the
That's
same thing over
that's why I
again.
kind of said I think they just took the concepts of the book and just kind of like did their own thing. So they were like, you know what, the original and the remake were they grew them. Why don't we just say they somehow grow in the water or something? Make it a little more
Yeah.
interesting, I guess.
Well,
And
and they
then the
don't.
vines and stuff coming out of them to like wrap themselves around. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that stuff looked good. They didn't screech in the first movie. They just changed, right? When they found somebody, they just
Yeah, they didn't
kind of
start screeching until the remake.
yeah.
I think
So
the remake is the first of the first time they introduced the screech,
yeah. So
and then
so they
this
should
one
go
they
back and
continued.
redub the original movie with screeching. Just really bad, like the person's mouth isn't even moving and you just hear the screech.
You just say, ah!
But it's what but it's like mm, because the person's because they're just dubbing over somebody's mouth. Um yeah, I mean I like the film. I think yeah, because I also have up on here when we get done with the next one, it's rating the movies, which I found to be kind of funny. So I'll bring that up. But anything else on the third film?
No, I enjoyed it. Um, it felt like to me, like I said, it felt like a made for TV movie. It's just the way it was shot. It didn't feel like a theatrical version, even though it was released theatrically, but it just didn't feel like a theatrical film to me. But
Okay,
that's the only real negative. And the kid falling from the
it's
helicopter,
pretty funny.
pretty hilariously bad. So bad it's good.
The daughter's friend doing the screech with the pointing finger, not as good as Donald Sutherland, but it was still
Are
okay.
they
It still worked.
are they actually doing the screech themselves, or is it something that they had like recorded and they just have them doing a different version, just changing the audible a little bit?
I think they probably did it a silent and then added it in.
Probably. That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I would think.
Hmm.
Because it's an alert, so I don't think anybody could really do
Yeah.
that sound. It's to alert the other pod people that that a normie is out there.
Yeah.
So but her screech wasn't bad, just not as good or iconic as
Yeah.
Donald
Hmm.
Sutherland's. So
So
this
what did you think about the ending of this one? of
Oh,
the
good.
bunch.
I'm glad you brought that up. Um, I watched it twice,
Hmm.
and I don't know. I kind of like it not being known, like where that helicopter lands. Is that base has that base been infected or
Hmm.
not? And you just see the soldier in like silhouette. I liked that. There is a voiceover that I wasn't a big fan of, but then I thought, well, the
Yeah,
book is kind of has the voiceover. Well, she does the voiceover at the beginning too.
yeah.
So so the voiceover is off and on, which I
I
kind of
didn't
felt
mind
was like the book a
her.
little bit.
I didn't mind at the beginning when she was kind of doing the voiceover. It kind of gave it a nod to the book a little bit
Yeah.
because at the beginning of the book, he's kind of like, "Hey, this book is not going to be tied up. There's going to be loose end. If you don't like this, I'm sorry, but you better not read it." And
Yeah,
that's kind of
he's
how
telling
she
us
did the beginning.
after the fact. Yeah, so yeah. So I guess I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely leaves things
The
open.
the end kind of like the end when they started narrating, it's like, dude, what are you doing? It sounded like some robot narrating. Like, like what? I don't
Yeah,
know how I feel about it.
I don't think it needed to be there at all in the movie.
I think
They
they
just
should have just left it as silent as they were landing, and you're looking at that pilot that's standing there. Is he a regular human, or is
yeah.
he infect, or is he one of them? And we don't. It just cuts it off right there, and the credits start to roll.
I agree with you because by her doing that narration, it means that she's survived and she's telling a story from the future.
Yeah.
So so yeah, I think that they should have almost like the original Dawn of the Dead, where they're just in the helicopter and they take off from the roof and they just go and and it's like, well, we got like half a tank of gas, and then he's like, all right, let's get out of here, and they just fly off, and then the music comes on,
Hmm.
and that's it. It's neither one of them are doing the, well, we flew for 4 days and had to land to get gas, and Bob died, and
And we
it's
and we got bit by zombies, and we never returned again.
yeah, it's just nice, just the uncertain future, and I
Yeah,
think that
just leave it
her
alone.
voice over that narration is not
Leave it up to
necessary.
our interpretation. That's what I kind of liked about the first three. Like, did the girl survive at the end of the remake when Donald Sutherland did the scream because he turned?
Yeah, it's because yeah, you get from the original that nobody survived except for him, and now he's trying to warn people, and then the second one, yeah, she probably got dragged away.
Probably.
And
But well, in the original, it was kind of like a sense of defeat because they're saying the truck had pods, so the trucks are going with the pods or going off to different cities, so it's too late. It's pretty much too late to try to stop it at this point. In the
yeah,
original, the second
yeah.
one was like complete takeover. This one they kind of showed that they stopped it because he used the helicopter to like blow the pods up as they were driving out.
But I guess they could go to that's something that I thought was weird with Arlie Remy is just walking by the truck, just going, you know, California, Nevada,
Yeah,
he's just named
New York.
like so the guy just supposed to know where, yeah, I thought that was weird. In the original, they're naming the trucks are there, and then he's like, okay, if you're from this town, go here. If you're from that town, go there. If you're from that city, go there.
Hmm.
And it made more sense. In this, he's just like walking by, just naming places.
As he's just naming each truck to where they're
Yeah,
going.
yeah, they would have something. The drivers would have something to go, just not that. But I guess to go back to my thing, like what's the difference between the army and a pod person? I guess they would have more authority. So if they did
Yeah,
successfully bring the trucks, nobody would really be questioning the military entering a town.
Because
You know,
if a military was going to a town, they would already have their orders before they even got in the truck, and they'd be just taking off and going wherever they need to go.
yeah, and then in that town, the sheriff, or if there is a military there, would probably meet them, and then they'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, what are all these pods?" And then that's where they would be taken and potted.
Transform
uh,
the
um
sheriff into them, and then take the
yeah,
sheriff and make him convert all the people,
yeah,
and then
and
they move on to the next city.
so Veronica Cartwright at some point had to sleep because she looked perfectly fine. So I guess if there's not a pod by you, like if you go into the very, very top of one of the buildings and you check it and there's no pods and like nobody knows you're there, you could probably sleep and stay and you're fine and you could go roam around the streets as long as you acted like them. But
I
because
guess.
you would have to at some point, because you would think that with the amount of pods that were the first and the second film, that they would just be throwing them everywhere. Like it
Yeah.
didn't matter. They would just be, oh, there could be a person in here. I'll just throw it in this room. You could even say that with the third one, why Forrest
Well, if you
Whitaker, it like
remember
freaking.
when you remember in the scene when she was in the bathtub taking a bath, and the vine started coming through the thing, they just hit him in the rafters, and
Yeah,
they hit
and
the ones under the dude's bed.
so there's the pod that the mom changes. So now the mom is like, okay, bring pods in. We need, where would be the best? Okay, well, put one over the bathtub. We're gonna put
Well,
one under the
actually,
bed.
you remember when I think she changed before because they brought boxes in. He's like, "This is for your dad. Your dad told us to bring boxes in or something like that." And
Yeah,
I'm
they put them
thinking,
in the
"Who's the
bedroom.
pods? Is that the pods?
Yeah,
Are those
because
the,
that's the pods in this one are smaller.
yeah, they're like
Like in the first and second film, they're huge. These are
huge.
smaller, and then even in the
Hmm.
fourth film, they then turn into like a ball. But yeah, so I'm guessing that, yeah, because then when the daughter's like, "Why are you in my parents' room?" They're like, "Oh, just dropping off boxes."
Yeah, and she think
So
question doesn't question it because they're like, "Okay, dad's a
yeah,
scientist. He requested things from the military. Okay, there you go."
yeah, and the dad does change under the bed. So there must have been a pod. So there's a pod under the bed for the dad, and then the
Well,
daughters.
they stopped the first one
Yeah, they saw.
when he
Yeah,
was trying to, and then I guess sometime between when him and Forrest Whitaker were in there, and Forrest Whitaker's character blows his brains out because he doesn't want to become one of them.
I like
Somewhere
that scene.
between then and him coming back for the kids, he changed somehow.
Yeah, there. I think in almost all the movies, there's that weird, "Hey, I'm fine," and then in the next scene, the person's in, they're a pod person. So at some point they fell asleep, but we also see how long it takes. It takes a while. It's not like a zombie where they bite you and then 5 minutes later you're a zombie.
Yeah, I mean it's like there's a process. Like the thing has to wrap itself around you, then like I guess suck your DNA out of you to order to produce one. And then but then other parts of the film, it was like the girl's been asleep for like 5 minutes and she's already got like a perfectly, almost complete version of herself just laying on the other side.
Yeah, yeah.
So
There's, it is like a kind of like a zombie. Some people turn in 5 minutes and some people turn in like 5 hours. I guess it
mhm,
just depends on what they want to do with the script.
yeah.
So it's yeah, because that's weird because we don't know how long it took for the mom. It looks like maybe like a day. The dad was changing while he was sleeping in the bed. The daughter changed, yeah, while she was in the bathtub.
Hmm.
And we don't know when the dad changed. Yeah, like the second time.
Yeah.
He was literally like walked around a corner and he was
Well,
different.
if you remember when it must have been in like 10 or 15 minutes because if you look when her body when her the pod body came crashing from the ceiling, it was like almost complete, but it was like
Right.
she still looked like an old lady in that part. Like like the gray, hair was gray, and then when she pulled the stuff out from on her dad when his wife was trying to get him to sleep and all that, he she pulls it up and then she pulls it out his other body out from under the thing. And it's like
Yeah, it's all like wigged out because it grabs her leg. Yeah. And then
so it's probably like a at least a 10-minute process, probably. At least that's what
yes,
we're been saying.
something like that. Yeah. And I'm thinking the brother, the little kid, because we don't see him for a while. So they probably took him, he fell asleep, because he's tired. And then
Probably stopped for
he
a while
becomes the
before
pod
they
thing.
made him sleep.
Hey, okay. So here's another thing. Okay. So if everybody changes in the pod people, and I've said there's no war, there's no, blah, 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 then what is the point of the army? What's the point of the military entirely?
Mm.
Would you just get rid of all Navy, Air Force, Army, Marines? Would they just all be
I guess they would just
gone?
use the army to pass around the pods and make people transform into them. Use them as a force until the whole world's taken over, and then do away with the army
I guess
because they wouldn't
maybe.
need an army. But then, if you judge by the book, they only live 5 years, so
Yeah,
their stuff hasn't process isn't perfect. So.
right. And at some point you will fall asleep. So no matter how long you try to stay awake, even at
Mm-hmm.
the end of part three, or the third film, um, even when they land, if that base is okay or not, which kind of the more I think about it, the more I like it. I think it's just that voiceover I don't like. Um,
Yeah.
at some point they will fall asleep.
Yeah.
They have to. I mean, either they'll get an injection or a pill, or it will just be too much and they'll fall
I
asleep, and
mean,
that
if there's
the
not a
pods will
pod
be
person
there.
nearby, if there's not a pod nearby, then they probably wouldn't. It would they'd be okay.
Well, that's what I'm thinking
But if
with
there's a
with
pod
with
nearby, then
with
it can manipulate your DNA and transform into you.
well, that's what I'm thinking with Veronica Cartwright, is that she must have not been around a pod, because she looks totally fine. There's no bags under her eyes or anything. And she's survived enough by mimicking them. It's not
Yeah,
until she sees somebody that she knows,
yeah.
that it
In the
all
remake,
goes bad. Yeah.
talk about the remake or the
Yeah.
okay. That makes
Yeah. Well, anything more about part three then? Because then we'll move into the
no.
other movie that Veronica Cartwright is
I
in.
liked it. I'd watch it again for sure. I think all
It's
four of these movies I would watch again.
I've come to like the third one a lot more. Each time I
Yeah.
see it, I like it a little bit more. Now the fourth one has nothing to do with any of the other ones, even if you're trying to put it together.
Loosely based.
There we go. So,
As
and
the
I
back says, it's a bold new take on Jack Finney's classic novel, The Body Snatchers.
okay. Okay, yeah, yeah. So this is mine. Are you gonna up me on this one? Of course you are. All right, let's look. Okay, special features on mine. Documentary. We've seen the Snatched before. Invasion in media history. 3 featurettes: The Invasion, A New Story, The Invasion on Set, and The Invasion Snatched.
You have exactly what I have.
Okay, so the documentary is disappointing.
Is
um,
it the We've Been Snatched Before? Is that the documentary?
yeah, I thought it was all about the movies, like the other 3 films and this, and it's not. It's just about viral diseases and things like that. I ended
Really?
up, yeah, I ended up turning it off.
Ah,
The other documentaries are fine, but they're studio made documentaries, so it's just about the movie and all that type of stuff. The
okay.
um the thing that I did find out about this, because I did watch
Oh,
like a documentary or something on YouTube, is the director of this was replaced. So which is why I don't think that he's you only have on-set interviews with him. Is it broken?
Yeah, my case is broke.
Oh, that sucks. I
Oh,
hate that. Especially
that's
with,
okay. I can always get new cases and replace them.
yeah, it's just a drag having to do it though. So,
Yeah.
um, and he's a foreign director. I looked him up, same thing, and I thought, huh, maybe I'll check out some of his other movies. They didn't really interest me. And the original version of this was he made it really arty. And because he and so oh, did I get rid of this one? The invasion. What did it say? Um so he got replaced. Here, let's see if I can find. I got rid of it, but let's see. And this film bombed beyond belief. The budget was
This one here.
65 to 80 million. Yeah.
This film
But it
bombed.
only made 40. So it tanked. Um, the
Yikes.
I do like the cast. Oh, I will say this. So I think Nicole Kidman in this is amazing looking. Here's the thing that creeps me out at the beginning of the film. So she has a son. Maybe I'm weird. I don't know, but she's getting the kid breakfast. You can clearly see her nipples through her shirt. Like she has no bra on. So the kid, her son, can completely see her boobs. And then when she turns, she's wearing pajamas that are very thin. She's wearing a black G-string. So her kid could see that. Then later on, she asks her son, can I give you a kiss when he goes to school? He kind of goes, all right, fine. And she kisses him on the lips. Moms are not supposed to kiss their kids on the lips. You do it on the cheek or the forehead, not on the. My mom kissed me on the lips once. I went, what the fuck are you doing? You're not my girlfriend. Like, I don't. Am I weird? I thought that was really bizarre that she's with her son at breakfast and her nipples are just poking out of her shirt. If I was, I mean, if that was my mom, I'd be like, Mom, go put on like a sweater or something. I mean, it seemed really bizarre to me, and I'm thinking, well, the director is a foreigner, so maybe this is acceptable where he's from. You know, things are a lot more loose. They're not
I
as.
didn't even pay attention to all that, so.
Oh my God, my eye went right to it. I'm just like, what the fuck is she wearing? It's like in Rob Zombie's Halloween. And you have the actress who plays Laurie, and she's with her family, and all of a sudden she starts to pretend to like give a blowjob and have sex in front of the parents. Like she's having an orgasm or something. And the mom's like, "Oh, stop it!" And the dad even comments about he's that he has a stain on his like pants on his penis. And I'm like, okay, I'm not married. I don't have kids, but I do have a family. I don't remember my family ever discussing things like this in front of each other. This is really bizarre. But I was raised in more of a conservative family, so I don't know. But I found that as amazing as she looks in this film, it was weird. It was a very weird choice to have her that way because it was intentionally done.
Yeah.
But you don't
I
you didn't.
wasn't really paying attention to that, to be honest with you. I was more like, when I'm watching a movie, I look at like I'm looking at the interior of the house. I'm looking at, how did they set everything up? You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of looking at like, okay, did they do this room by design? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there a reason for this? And plus it was 2007, so I was kind of looking like, okay, what? I was thinking about the history of that time. Like, are they? Was George W. Bush or wait, was George W. Bush still president in 2007, or wasn't it Obama?
I should know this and I don't.
Wait, it was 2008 when Obama became president, right?
George W. Bush,
Okay, so he was
2001 to
still president at the time.
2009.
Okay, now that makes sense because I was wondering because in one of the scenes of the TV, it was George W. Bush talking with like another world leader, and I was like, wait a minute, was he
Oh
president at
yeah.
that time? I thought Obama was president at that point, but clearly I was wrong. Oops.
So the okay, so the director of this film is another strange choice. He's a German director. He's actually directed one of the best movies ever made about Hitler called Downfall, which is an amazing movie about Hitler. Fuck, is it good? And it's about the
Okay.
last days of Hitler in the bunker, right before basically like Russia invades Berlin. And
Mhm.
it is a great movie. But everything else, I'm not really seeing um, anything that I know. He did do a film called 5 Minutes in Heaven that has Liam Neeson in it. But I don't. Did a movie about Diana with Emily Watts. So, but it does say here, and this could explain things because the movie is kind of a mess. Um, so I don't know why they would get the guy who directed Downfall to do this, but I don't know why they got the other directors either, except for Don Siegel, who I think also took over for the original director. I think there was a different director on that, and he took over and he got credit. But it says here, so the film was initially directed by Oliver, and I'm not going to bother trying to pronounce his German last name. Um, and starring Nicole Kidman, Daniel Craig. Unhappy with the original edit, the production company hired the Wachowskis and additional writing from James McTeague to do reshoots on some scenes. So
Okay.
I think a lot of those action scenes are the Wachowskis. Um, yeah, it does fall. It is still based on the book. So let me ask you. So we've had Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Invasion of the Body
Mhm.
Snatchers, Body Snatch, and The Invasion. Is the next film just going to be called Of the?
I might as well be at that point. I mean, they're so far. This one kind of went so far removed from the book. I mean, the only real connection to the book at this point is they did a gender reversal. So it's what's her name? So it's Carol Bonnell instead of Miles Burnell, and Ben Driscoll instead of Becky Driscoll. That's really the only connection to the book that I could really see,
Okay.
and maybe
Yeah, because
how it works.
yeah, the first two film are men leads, and then the third and fourth would be female leads. So they did a
Mhm.
little, and this one doesn't even have pods.
No, it's kind of like a virus or like a
It's like a computer virus, but for humans. Because the shuttlecraft, which they think intentionally later on intentionally burnt up in the atmosphere and crashed.
oh, conspiracy theorist back in 2007.
Wait, who?
I don't know. It's just conspiracy theorists, man. Remember, everyone always says that we're conspiracy theorists now, even though half the stuff turns out to be true.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So they were having conspiracy theorists even back in 2000, even back in 2007. So I don't want to hear you guys complaining
Uh
about some of us having conspiracy theories.
for me, what I thought it was Night of Living Dead, because they talked about the Venus probe and how it had radiation and broke up as it came back into the earth. And that's how
Mhm.
the zombies came about. Which then Romero said, yeah, that's how it did happen. It was the Venus probe. And so this reminded me with the shuttle, because and it had the alien like virus on it. And if you didn't touch it, I guess you would be okay. But the one guy touched it and it nicked him.
Yeah.
And then it kind of took him over, but didn't get rid of the body. Like, so there was no pod person. It was just kind of
As far as we know, unless it happened off screen.
it seems like it just kind of reformed the body. Like it took it over and then they kind of came out of it. and they were
Yeah.
different.
Mhm.
Because also in the military one, the third one is they were dumping the ashes.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they were doing that in the second one too, right?
Both of them.
Yeah, yeah. Second and third, they were putting the ashes into a bag. This one, I
Mhm.
don't think that there was anything like that. So, and I did kind of like how they would puke. Like there would be
Ugh.
so it's done more through water.
That was
This one,
nasty.
I
That was
I
freaking nasty.
I knew this wasn't that this didn't come out during the pandemic, but this kind of like that film Contagion, which I also think has a shitty ending because it's positive. And but I do find it funny that Gwyneth Paltrow is the one that starts the whole thing. I think, of course, Gwyneth Paltrow starts this whole thing.
Yeah.
This reminded me a lot more of COVID.
Yeah.
But I thought that, and that was weird of how people start off kind of like with a cold and they get sick, and then that this is very kind of COVID related
Mhm.
before COVID because it's 2006.
Yeah.
Um, I like the actors that are in it. I overall, I mean, because we also have like Jeffrey Wright, who's really good. John Ottman, who did the music for this, is also a director. He's really good. I like him for music and directing. Joel Silver is the producer. Um, and
Is
yeah, Jack.
this is this Daniel Craig pre 007
Yes,
or okay? I was because I knew because I looked at him like, yeah, why did he have like the kind of longer hair? Because I'm like, and when he was doing 007, it was pretty much cut pretty short.
yeah. I'm pretty sure. Is all you got to do is look up his
Because I
Casino
think he did
Royale.
007 in 2008, I believe, with Casino Royale. Was his first one.
Yeah,
I think it was
so he's
2008.
just have to look up Casino Royale. Casino Royale was 2006.
Oh, so this was before. Because this was after. This is okay. All right.
Yeah, I thought it was
Which
before.
may have made sense because, hey, he's a big. I think I don't know how long he's been an actor for.
He's been out there for a while. He got known for that movie Layer Cake, the Matthew Vaughn film.
Okay.
That's the big movie that he was known for. Everybody's like,
Okay.
and he was blonde. So that everybody was like, no, it can't be the guy from Layer Cake. He's blonde. James Bond isn't blonde. That was like the big thing. How dare
Mhm.
James Bond be blonde? Like stupid shit like that.
How dare
Um,
James Bond be 5 freaking million people? Let's be real here.
well, and everybody says James Bond's got to be British, but yet Sean Connery, the first James Bond, is actually Irish. So it's he's not British. So there you go.
Not really.
George
I
and
mean,
George Lazenby is Australian.
there
So
you go.
whatever.
So they
But
broke their own rules.
they did. I don't like that this started with something that happens later on. I don't know if that was
Yeah.
intentional or not, with her going into the store trying to find the drugs to keep her awake. I normally don't like movies, and then it goes like 3 days earlier.
It's like
Um,
an artistic kind of choice that can work if done right, but it kind of because I think the whole thing is like, oh, she needs to stay awake. She needs. Oh, I need Mountain Dew. I need this. I need that. Oh, I need to stay awake. And then all of a sudden, it's like, why does she need to stay awake? So what's you know? So I guess it's kind of like to grip you, to make you interested, like what's going on? Why is she like that? And then,
I always felt that it was because the beginning was boring. Like, fuck, our beginning is boring. Well, let's
possible
take this action
possibility.
scene and put it over here, and then we'll wrap back around to it.
I
So I don't
mean,
know.
yeah,
Maybe that's
I
in the original script. I don't know, but it's um. I got to tell you, I fucking hate the ending of this movie. I hate it as much as I hate the book's ending.
it's I was gonna say this is probably the only one that actually did the ending of the book.
this,
even
this
if it's very loosely based on the book.
it's it ends so abruptly that I'm wondering if it was a reshoot, because it's all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's oh my god, the world is going to end, and then it doesn't.
All of a sudden, it's just like she leaves. Then she got on the airplane, and it just kind of cuts to the whole world's cured. It's kind of like, well, wait a minute, let's lead up to that a little bit. Um, while we're talking about the ending, when they show her in the kitchen with Daniel Craig's character, spoiler alert for those who haven't watched it. Too late. You should know
Well, we've already
we're
discussed
all
the
about
ending of all
spoilers
the
here.
movies anyway.
But is does it seem like he's there, or does it look like he's not there? Because she's kind of like looking at him, like kind of like she's imagining he's there.
Oh no, I think if anything, it's a reshoot, and they just had them come back for reshoots to show that he's still alive, and that's why they did the dramatic pan, and he puts down the newspaper. Oh, he lived. No, I think he was there. I just have a
Okay, I
feeling that
don't know because the way they because it kind of seemed like when he was talking, it sounded like he was saying what he was saying in the car at the first scene you seen him in.
oh no, I don't think this movie is that
I mean,
that
I don't
that
know,
that
but
that
anyway, I
that head trippy. You know,
I
it's
mean, it makes sense because she didn't actually kill him; she just shot him in the leg so he
shot him in
wouldn't
the leg.
follow him.
Yeah, yeah, because this is one of those films where you could still be alive once the virus is found. You know, once the cure is found.
Hmm.
So a lot of freaking people die, while they're infected. The ending of this, so I'm reading down at Wikipedia, it says, and this is how simple it is. Okay, she and Oliver are picked up by a helicopter and thrown to a medical center. A vaccine is created. In Konakos, I don't know, are made worldwide. I guess the vaccine is made worldwide. And within a year, the alien virus is eliminated. People have no
And we have
memory.
no context of that.
No, people have no memory of the events that occurred while they were affected. Ben and Carol reunite, and society reverts into emotional and violent ways. I did not get that impression. There is a newscaster, which is, we think the world is over. Cut to newscaster. A virus has been, I keep saying virus. A cure has been created. It has been brought out around the world. The alien infection has been defeated. But we never see them create anything.
And when they, I think what would have really fixed that if they would have just put like when they cut from her getting it when they're flying away in the helicopter to when they showed, they could have put like simple text 1 year later. That would have gave us a lot of explanation at that point,
Yeah, okay, I'll go along with that. Yeah, sure. Because
or
it's
something that because the way it's edited, it's like, oh, it's the next day. Like, oh, this just happened the next day, and humanity's cured in like 24 hours.
yeah. And I know this film, it did, like it said, it had reshoots. I remember the film being held for like a year or two. It didn't come out. Everybody's like, uh-oh, this must be a piece of shit. And yeah, I think it had a much more downbeat ending.
Yeah,
And they
probably.
reshot it with this.
Oh no,
So
we need to have happy endings. We need happy endings.
I was enjoying the film up until that scene. And I'm like, fucking assholes. And it's like, it's so abrupt, like I said, and
Yeah.
it's so, it just doesn't, yeah, I don't like it at all, because
I
life
think what
would
it
not
is
be
they shot
normal.
the movie first. Then when they had to come in and do reshoots, and then then I think during the reshoots they didn't have enough money to pay Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig anymore, so they just had to like work with what they had, and this is what we got.
Yeah, you guys are going to come back in for
Could be
one
wrong.
day.
Could be wrong.
I mean, well, I mean, hey, it has your kitchen.
Don't
Kitchen.
start with the
Kitchen.
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 Yeah, in
Yeah,
the
it's just
kitchen.
it's not good at all. So it's definitely been mangled by the studio, and it has a lot of studio interference. I was enjoying the film as a standalone body snatcher movie up to that point. I was liking it. Like I liked the kids were kind of aggressive. You know, like almost one of them, like that one little kid, like that little Hispanic kid, I think is almost became like a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, and his parents die, and then I guess they adopt him at the end. But
Yeah.
oh my God, and the accents in this, the that older couple that were like part of, I guess, the government or whatever they were. The one woman who's been in like a buttload of movies and she's a good actress had that awful accent. Like, why would you give her that accent? That was so bad. And her husband sounded normal, you know, that actor, but she was just hideous.
And they were being very racist with that Russian dude.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, don't mind him. He's just Russian.
Well, I guess if you're friends, you could do that, I guess. But I mean, but he to a point was correct, because even in this in the Wikipedia, because he was also saying like no violence and stuff like that. At the very ending of this thing here, it says, and society reverts to its emotional and violent ways.
Yeah.
So once again, is my way not correct? Is my
So
way
maybe they were trying to make this an environmental film. Maybe saying like, hey, I mean, like trying to give it a message of, hey, let's be nicer to the planet. Let's be responsible. Let's let's stop these pointless wars that we have. That, let's be real here, the only time we ever go to war is when they have resources we need. That's the only time we ever go to war. It's
I mean,
never about what's actually happening in the country. It's always resources. Oh, I'm sorry.
sure.
Conspiracy theories.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, it's hard to tell with all the re-edits and what I do believe is the reshot ending and all that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to say. I mean, this thing seems to be as big of a mess as like World War Z. You know, when you find out the history of that film, and you're just like, fuck, this movie's a mess, and the invasion is kind of a mess. So it's
Yeah.
but I enjoyed it up until that ending. So it's, you know, anything else to say on the invasion on this one?
I mean, I think we pretty much covered it. So, I mean, I enjoyed it, but I'll let you know how I rate it when we do our
Okay.
ratings.
So then the next one would be, and this would be the Puppet Masters, Robert A. Hylam's The Puppet Masters with
I
Donald
do not
Sutherland.
own a copy of this yet. I did order the Keener Lorber Blu-ray that came out
Oh
with
wow.
a
Okay, so
slipcover.
you even though you ordered, you still won up to me, because this literally has nothing. It's just
I mean, why
widescreen.
not?
You know, that's it. So
This whole thing, man, was to say I'm better than you, John.
apparently, kitchen, kitchen, kitchen.
No,
So
no.
um I really like this movie until the end. Once it everything happens in this one city. Everything happens. We destroy the aliens and that's it. The world goes back to normal. Everything is fine. Nobody dies in this freaking movie, unless you're like some bystander that's walking by somewhere. Our entire lead cast doesn't die. Nobody dies. The lead actor is awful. God, he is bad. And he has made some movies before this and after this that I can't believe. He is one of the worst actors I have ever come across. God, he is awful. I don't know if they were trying to do like a Mulder type of thing with him, but man, does it
I
stink.
enjoyed the movie, but I will agree with you. He looked like a puppet, a wooden puppet that was walking through, and some of the lines he had, it's kind of like,
Yeah, he's like,
I think the best acting was when he was on the table with the alien on his back, and he's sitting in there shocking him. He's like, and he's
oh, and
playing
it's
like two different characters.
that works
Like,
because yeah, because they distorted his voice. Oddly,
yeah,
this is so the Puppet Masters was written before the Body Snatchers. So some people do think Body Snatchers is a ripoff on this. The but when this came
I
out as a
wouldn't call it a
movie,
ripoff.
everybody said this is a ripoff
No,
on body
no,
on like Invasion of the
I
Body
think
Snatchers, but it's
they're
like no, this was written before, kind of like Starship Troopers and Aliens. Aliens was taken from Starship Troopers from the novel, but yet when Starship Troopers came out, people are like, no, that's a ripoff on Aliens. No, it's not. It
mhm,
was based on a book in the 50s.
mhm,
So, but this one is written by the two guys who wrote the first few Pirates of the Caribbean, and David S. Goyer, who did
okay.
like Blade. Um, uh, uh, um, he did a David S. Batman. You know, like a Batman Begins. He did
Mhm.
those. So this has three really big writers on it. I don't know if this actor is a relative of the producer, or maybe he has something on the producer, and so they had to let him be in the movie. But and the lead actress is, I thought she was really hot. We do get her in some lingerie, so some her bra. So I thought she was really good. I thought everybody was really good except for our main guy.
I mean, Donald Sutherland's acting was superb.
Yeah, he's really good. I
I
don't
mean,
get near the end. You're getting away with it. Why would you walk away without your cane? Come on, dude. You're like, I just need samples.
they
Everything is
gotta give.
dead.
They had to make it. They had to make it obvious for the characters. They're like, hey, he's walking away without his cane.
Which, if these aliens are smart, if they're
If
mostly
if
brain,
he's
which is what they say,
yep.
why would he do that unless he wanted to get caught? It makes no sense for him to walk away without his cane. At least walk away limping. You know, like, oh, did they just want to extend the movie? Because I wonder how close this is to the book at all. You know, I don't think it
I
is.
don't
I
know.
think probably the idea.
We'll have to read the book and come back at some point.
Yeah. And but what I do like about it is it's incredibly fun. It's really entertaining. And
Yeah.
10 minutes in, you're getting Richard Belzer, who is freaking awesome because he is a conspiracy nut. Well, he died, but he was a huge conspiracy nut in real life. So it's great to have
Mhm.
him in this alien movie where he even becomes one of the aliens.
Yeah.
So I think it's fun from, I like the kids because that kind of follows. So maybe that is in the book because the brain eaters is they have the rocket in the woods and
Mhm.
people go into the rocket and they come out all different. So
Yeah.
maybe there's something there, but who made the rocket? Who made the ship? I don't think those kids that are like 13, 14 years old went down to Home Depot or Lowe's and bought all those wood and nails and created that ship around it, around that little pond
I
that's
mean, it
in there.
definitely did look like it was built to like hide what was really there.
That's what they said. They said it's fake. It's all wood. When they go inside, you can see there's screws and plywood, and they
Mhm.
do say it's fake. That it was
And then
hiding what was actually there.
when the army looks down and they see what was originally there, there was something there and it's no longer there anymore.
Yeah, they said, yeah, whatever is there left, there was just like that pond. But I'm guessing people go in and what's ever in the pond attached to the neck, and then when
Mhm.
they left, they were different. So that's why the woman didn't go down, because something didn't seem right. Um,
Yeah.
uh, but I like that it's almost 2 hours, but it's very solid. It's
Yeah.
action from beginning to end. So
Hmm.
I even with my issues with the film, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Because it is never boring. This thing just hits after hit. I mean,
Hmm.
it goes and goes and goes and goes until it ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
I liked how it was very like it wasn't slow. It was like you got like 10, maybe 5 minutes of like the kids throwing a kid riding a bike, then you see the kids playing frisbee with something, and then all of a sudden the frisbee glows, and all of a sudden, boom! Whoa, let's go check it out! And then all of a sudden they go out, and then the
well,
police
it's
goes over, and
yeah, the kids are throwing around. It's a hubcap, but I think it's like a car hubcap. I think it's meant to look like a UFO because there's a slow-mo shot of it going across the camera. So that's when the light hits it. But I think it's meant to look like a little bit like a UFO, like a flying
mhm,
saucer or something. Um,
yeah,
but I thought all the performances, except for our lead actor, unfortunately, were really good. I thought maybe this guy's like a stunt man, maybe he's like a male model. Like, why is this guy? But he was really in nothing that I recognized after that. Some of the titles I kind of knew, like he was in a Samson movie, but it's like, okay, he's a good looking guy, but like, is that why they got him in
is this
this?
his own? Maybe this is his only lead role. Maybe.
Um, so I can get rid of the invasions. Let's get rid of that. We'll go to Puppet Masters. So okay, Eric Fall, I think is how you say his name. So he's in some known stuff. So like A Stranger Among Us, that's with Melanie Griffith. The Gun and Betty Lou's Handbag, that's with Penelope Ann Miller. 6 Degrees of Separation with um Donald Sutherland. That's also with Will Smith. And then the year after that is Puppet Masters with Donald Sutherland. He's in a TV movie for Samson and Delilah. Wishful Thinking with Drew Barrymore. The Wedding, which is like a TV miniseries. And then kind of from here on out, the stuff isn't really that well known. Oh, Snow Falling on Cedars. That was a big movie. Ethan Hawke was in that one. Um, oh, he's in a French film with Naomi Watts called The Shaft, which is really good. That Dick Mass, the director of that, is really good. I think it's like Moss or something. Um, TV, he was in TV like Law and Order, Criminal Intent, Ed, Law and Order, a different version of Law and Order, Hack, another Law and Order movie in 2009 called The Good Guy with
Okay.
Alexis Bettel. So you would recognize her if you saw her. So he's been in stuff, but God, he is awful.
Yeah, he looks like he was like maybe in a bunch of like low budget films. I'm not saying he was, but it just feels like he was in a bunch of low budget films, and then Donald Sutherland's like, "Hey, let's get this guy in here. Why
But they
not?"
made a movie before. They did that 6 Degrees of Separation. So maybe he was throwing him a bone.
Maybe, maybe
You know,
possible.
I thought he looked like Mulder. He had the same type of hair, and so it's aliens. Let's get a guy that looks like Mulder. Donald Sutherland's like, hey, I worked with this guy in my last movie. He kind of looks like Mulder. I don't know, who knows, but it was a very weird choice because everybody else did a good job,
Yeah.
and it has some known character actors as you go
Mhm.
through it. A lot of the military people are well known. They've been like a ton of films,
Mhm.
and a lot of them playing either like military or government people. So I liked
Yeah.
that. But this is another one where I did not like the ending. It's the same thing with the invasion. It looks like we're, he's in the helicopter. Um, I think this is before the
I
helicopter.
mean, we can't have bad endings for every movie now, but I mean,
No, but this was another one. Okay, so the son works for the government in some sort of way, like some sort of agency. Say he's not a scientist, but he did have the creature on the back of his, which looked really cool. Those effects look great. For that. When did this come out? This was what?
93?
I have it right here.
Maybe?
I don't know why I'm looking here. Yeah, 94. And
94.
those things look great. So they were all
Yeah.
animatronic. But he's sitting there as they're testing the one, and because they get the kid out of the hive. They're like, we have a cure. So they take the thing off the kid, they're testing it, and within 30 minutes it dies. They're like, well, how are we going to get out there? And then the bad actor, who's Donald Sutherland's son in the movie, all of a sudden just spouts out, oh, this is how we could do it. It's one mind. It controls 1,000,000. We'll put it in here in this mind, and then it will kill everything. And Donald Sutherland walks by and goes, perfect. Even though he already, he has the thing. And I'm like, how the fuck would he know that? He's not a scientist. So then
because if you remember, he remembers some of the stuff that the alien was. He had some of the memories from the alien.
I mean,
the alien
I guess
was
that
talking
could turn
to
him in. Yeah, I mean, I guess he would have better knowledge than somebody who wasn't connected to the alien.
Yeah.
But then it just cuts to, once again, and I think this one did have like a year later or something like that on it, and everything is fine. Nobody dies. Oh no, they know what it is. They're sending out the vaccine, and then our two leads, the guy and the girl, walk away because now they're going to go have sex. Because Donald Sutherland tells them, "Go have sex." He's like, "You like each other?
Go have coffee or something."
Yeah, but it's kind of, they're smiling at each other. It's his way of saying, "Yeah, go fuck, go do your thing because you deserve it." But it's like, I don't. This is another one of those things where I don't think it should have had a happy ending. And it's, yeah, it just is. After a brutal fight on the helicopter, Sam shoots his father, causing the alien to leave, which actually looked really cool. I loved its little kind of like whip, with like that little thing was really cool.
So right there showing you that that's not really a ripoff of the Body Snatchers, or vice versa. It's completely different aliens. They do completely different things. One manipulates through the brain, and one completely just kills you and copies you. So two completely different alien entities.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just because aliens take over both. Okay, so back at the base, the team learns that a child suffered from, I have no idea how to pronounce this, in the past, and that apparently was the reason a slug couldn't possess him. Okay, so they don't take the slug from him. He's just in like some hibernation. They got the slug from someplace else. The team tests the theory by infecting an alien with the kid's virus, which causes the alien to explode and die. Biological warfare is adopted, and seemingly all the parasites die. When was this? They just tell us this. They just say that it happens. Freeing the victims.
So my question is that if all the parasites died, how did Donald Sutherland's one still alive?
During a later inspection of the hive, debris falls on Andrew, Donald Sutherland, which allows a previously undiscovered last alien to infect him. So I guess when he's on the ground, like, that must be the alien attacking him. Sam realizes his father was infected when Andrew was able to walk normally. Dumbass alien. Fucking Rain Man of alien. He had previously used a cane due to significant leg injury. Sam pursues his affected father, who is now commandeered. Okay, helicopter, we know all that. Shoots it, causing the alien to leave. The alien attempts to leave the helicopter, but gets chopped up by the tail rotor, which was pretty funny, thus getting killed. Now, back on the ground, Andrew confirms that was the last alien, and that he is aware of how much Sam loves him and how Sam and Mary feel about each other. As Andrew is being tested for, or being treated for his injuries, Sam remarks to Mary that now she knows everything about him, but now he needs to learn about her. Okay, that's right. I've commented on that. Even during back then, it was the women are better than men, because she knows everything about him, but he knows nothing. It's even following stuff from today. Mary tells him that they have a lifetime to get to, that he has a lifetime to get to know her. So, yeah, this also has other, like, Will Patton is in this, who's really good. Keith David, Richard Belzer, Yaphet Kotto. I mean, there's like a ton of people in this movie that are just like soldiers and stuff. So let's see. So the screenplay went through a number of rewrites due to differences between writers who wanted to remain faithful to the story, and executives at Disney who wanted an adaptation that they could sell. As a result, the final script leaves out some elements from the novel, while portions of the movie follow a basic plot. Further rewrites were motivated by cost-saving measures, such as a replacement of the novel's futuristic setting with a contemporary one, and elements to distance the film from previous derivative works, such as adaptations of The Body Snatchers. So there you go. Thank you, Disney. Assholes.
The House of Mouse, man.
Yeah, fuckers. See, that's why she's better than him. She knows everything about him, but he knows nothing about her. See, Mary Sue. But anything else on this one, and then we'll go to the two remakes or the two ripoffs.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Puppet Masters. I thought it was good. I did have some problems with the main actor, but I watched a bunch of B movies, so I can look over crappy acting and still enjoy a movie. So anyway, that's all I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna let you take over from here because I did not see the ripoff, so I have no comment on these.
Do you want to do ratings?
Yeah, you want to go over the two ripoffs first, and then talk about them real quick?
Sure. Yeah, these won't take long. So the first one here, because I had originally put up on Facebook, I took a picture because I bought all of these, the original 4, all at the same time before we even decided to do this. And I put up a picture, and somebody goes, "Did you get the 2 ripoffs?" And I'm like, "Oh crap, I know what he's talking about." So when we decided to do this, I'm like, "Okay, fine, I'll buy the 2 ripoffs. Why not?" One, I do own a Full Moon collection, so this just goes into the collection, and that's.
I was gonna ask if one of them was a Full Moon movie.
This is Full Moon.
Yep.
And it's got some of the Full Moon people in it. It's based on an idea by Charles Band, which I always find funny because this is just Body Snatchers. But the overall effect, because it's John Carl Buechler, is these guys look great when they're actual physical effects. When they use the CGI, because this is early, this is probably the 90s is when this was done. Seed People, 92.
And the year I was born.
Hey, okay.
I'm as old as that movie.
Wow, you should watch this on your birthday every year. It's
I should, right?
The CGI sucks. It's awful. It's 80 minutes, I want to say, somewhere in there. It's kind of boring, but visually it looks good. The sound is good. The physical effects look good. It does tell a story. It's just not I don't even really remember what was the story for this. Guy comes back into town. He used to date the woman who now runs an Airbnb. Her ex-boyfriend was a sheriff. So there's a triangle. And the aliens are kind of like pods, and they do change, but they're done with CGI. I don't fully remember what the story was. That tells you how much it impressed me.
That just shows you how good of a movie it really was.
Seed pods from space land in the area surrounding a small rural town, and the seeds become alien creatures that contaminate the human population in the area, turning people into unwilling seed pods that in turn hatch into even more monsters. Maybe I'm not forgetting anything. Is there's no there? That's the plot. That's what Wikipedia says. So maybe there is no story. Maybe it's just aliens taking people over. So, all right. But but this, man, this is 100 times. Oh, wow. Man, this was a chore to get through. See People was just kind of boring, even though I did actually work with Sonny. I'm what he says. Let's see if he's in here. I mean, this has like some known full moon people on it, so it's not. I worked with. Oh shit, his name isn't on here. I'm I'm blanking. So on Evil Bong 777. So shout out here in Vegas. I got the Sonny Carl Davis, who has been in a ton of full moon movies. So he's in See People. So it's nice to see him in full moon movies. So
Okay.
the director isn't bad. The person who wrote it isn't bad. It's just dull. It's just a low budget, kind of dull body snatcher movie with some good elements. Would I watch it again? Not immediately, no. A year down the road, something like that, sure, why not? This, I don't
Maybe
think I
I'll
would.
check it out at some point.
It's not bad. I mean, it's
Let
if
me
you're in a
guess. Let me guess. Let me guess. This is an asylum film.
an
I knew
early
it.
asylum film. So this is 2007. It was also known as Invasion: The Beginning. Yeah, The Asylum. Like several other films by The Asylum, Invasion of the Pod People is a mockbuster whose release coincided with the premiere of The Invasion. Although the plot of Pod People borrowed heavily from the now here it says 1956 film Invasion of the Body Snatchers, of which The Invasion is a reworking. This thing is boring as fuck. God, this is boring. The director on this is Justin Jones. So this has, I don't think See People. Oh yeah, it doesn't list it, but there's a documentary. There's like the regular behind the scenes for the full moon movies in here. It's like 10 minutes, something like that, which wasn't bad. It shows you how they made the creatures and behind the scenes. So that wasn't bad. That was kind of cool. This one, filmmakers commentary, making of, bloopers, and trailers. So Justin Jones is the director of this. I don't think I've seen anything else he's done. Maybe I have, I just don't know. But they have him sitting in a hot tub in an interview, which I have a feeling they think is funny. Let's put the director in a hot tub. And there's like crap around the hot tub. So it's like, if you're going to make this guy look rich, like it's a joke, remove the crap. Just have the hot tub there so it looks like he's in a mansion or something. What's annoying is he keeps saying Donald Sutherland, the big influence on this movie was the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers starring Donald Sutherland. Somebody's filming him because the camera's moving. He says it twice. It's frustrating me going, he wasn't in the original. He was in the remake.
He was in the remake.
Yeah. So how much of Invasion of the Body Snatchers do you really know? It reminded me like that idiot that's on the Acolyte, Disney's Star Wars, the Acolyte, who in two separate interviews said Anakin Skywalker blew up the Death Star, and nobody corrected him. And he says it in such a, well, look what happened when Anakin blew up the Death Star. Look how many people he killed. And he says it like he's a scholar. And all of these YouTube channels just destroyed him. Because, okay, I get it. You make a mistake once, somebody corrects you. But he did it twice. And this director does it twice. And I'm like, really, dude? You couldn't just, nobody could correct you? Like, you couldn't just shoot it again? It's only like 5 minutes or whatever. You're already there. Just be like, hey, man, that's not right. This thing is so boring. The women in this are hot, and there is nudity. So apparently the pods, which are all CGI, equal lesbians. Because once you become a pod person, you have sex with women, and there's my nudity. So I can't complain about that. And it takes place at some weird modeling agency, which I couldn't figure out was if it was like a porn agency or like a legit modeling agency, or maybe they do like nudes. I don't know. But it was done, the modeling agency looked like it was done in somebody's attic, because you could see all the pipes, like all the vents were there. And apparently the person who was doing sound didn't know that if you start shooting and the AC is on, you have to shoot the entire thing with the AC on. Or at least you need to get like a good 30 seconds, a minute of the AC for your audio to put it in the background. So one woman would be talking and the AC would be on and I can't understand her. And then the next, they would cut to her friend and it won't be on and I can understand her. Cut back to the friend and you can't understand her. Another woman moves a rolling chair on a, look, it's probably like a wooden floor. As she's talking, I can't hear what she's saying. So why the director didn't say, okay, stop, or the sound person didn't say stop, say your line and then move the chair, or move the chair, then say your line. Because the chair is louder than your lines. And that was another problem. The sound effects and the music were over everybody's lines. This is awful. This is, and I even know Scott Lee. I just said his name backwards. Thank you, John, for being dyslexic. Lee Scott. I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I've wanted him to get onto One Filmmaker because he's actually done a lot of movies I do like. He was written by him. He's one of the cameramen. And it looks like he has multiple jobs on this. And he's in it. He plays the Kevin McCarthy role.
Okay.
In this. Because it really is just kind of ripping off Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original. Mm-hmm. So if he watches this, I sorry, Lee, it's a bad movie, dude. And we could discuss it if you want, but I'm going to keep it, but in the tradition of the Body Snatchers and Species. So I guess the Species part is the lesbian part, maybe. I don't know. Man, this is not good. This was painful.
At one point, I was going to collect every Asylum movie, and now I think I'm just going to leave that alone. If I find it for like a buck or something, maybe.
I've been collecting them off and on, but the earlier ones are not good. The later ones, when they actually started getting a budget, are good. Or Asylum good, you know. But this is like, the girls are hot. I mean, she's hot. She quit acting and became a producer. So she now works in television and other stuff. So she was in a bunch of Asylum films and then moved on to something else. So she's actually doing pretty well. But this is after a woman's closest friends and coworkers undergo extreme personality changes, she begins to suspect that they have been replaced by alien invaders. So the idea is, if you're a nice person and you change, you're now an asshole. If you're an asshole and change, now you're a nice person. That's the change. That's the big flip. So
I mean, kind of makes sense, but not really.
yeah, it's as far as both of these go. Sea People, I guess, is a oh, and it's funny in Sea People, I guess they couldn't get like a 13 or 14-year-old girl, so they had a 20-year-old girl player. They even say this in the behind the scenes, and she acts like she has like some sort of mental deficiency or something. Like there's something mentally wrong with her because you have a 20-year-old who's trying to act like a 13-year-old. So she comes off like Rain Man, Rain Woman, which I thought was really weird. I'm like, that's got to be like a 20-year-old person playing a kid. And then in the making of, the actress goes, "Oh yeah, I'm like 20, but I'm playing this like young teenager."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing, so they don't have to have like a young kid there that's underage, working after hours or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it would make sense because a person that has a mentally challenged would be, like a 5-year-old in a 30-year-old body. And I'm
But
not making fun of that.
no, but she's
I'm not
not.
making.
She's actually meant to just be like a regular 13 or 14-year-old.
Oh, so she's not really even
No,
playing
it's just a 20-year-old actress trying to act like a 13-year-old.
13-year-old. Okay, so they probably would have been better if they would have made her like maybe mentally challenged. Would have made. I'm not saying that in a mean way, but that would have made more sense. Like, okay,
Yeah, or make her
she's
older.
20 years old, but she has the mentality of a 10-year-old or a 13-year-old or whatever they were
Yeah,
trying to do at the time.
make her 17 or 18. Make her closer to what her age is, but still make her a teenager.
Hmm.
So
There you
it's
go.
just weird. But I guess this is a classic in the full moon world. Like people know this. It's so it's one of the better ones from that time period.
Yeah.
This was made, I think, during that bad time of the asylum. And I don't know, maybe when I was collecting asylum films like 10 years ago or whatever it was, I might have liked it
Mhm.
more. But it's very hard for me to get past this stuff now. I just can't do it. It's difficult. I've even told Jonathan Moody, I'm like, I don't know how long I can keep reviewing these types of movies. Because it's like I feel like I watch this and then I have to go watch like 5 Hollywood movies just to get it out of me.
Yeah.
So it's tough. So I did not listen to the audio commentary. I just watched the making of bloopers and the other asylum trailers. So
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. So it's like horribly lit. The sound is god awful. I just,
Yeah.
I use now as examples of me working with people out here. So if I'm working with, let's say, Joe Lujan, who I work with on a regular basis, and I'm doing his sound, I'm seeing him doing the lighting and the directing and the camera work, and then I watch the end product, and it's like, oh, this looks like it actually has a good budget on it.
Hmm.
So why can't this? If there's
It's
three or
probably the director wanted to just hurry up and crap out a movie and just get it done with because I'm assuming back then Asylum didn't pay these people as much as they do now to make a movie.
yeah, maybe just to crap it out because it's just it's weird because in the behind the scenes you could see, oh look, those are real lights. That's a real camera. That's this is like real equipment. This isn't just
Mhm.
somebody's phone. So I don't know. Yeah. So all right, there we go. Those are the two ripoffs that I could find.
Do rip off movies.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now before we give our reviews, the thing that I have here, so this is from Screen Rant. I have a feeling this might be our rating. So number 4 is The Invasion. Number 3 is Body Snatchers. Number 2 is the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And number 1 is Invasion of the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I think that sounds about right. or not.
That's
That's
pretty much
that would be my
that
rating.
was pretty much my take right there.
But you paused. Is there something different?
Well, no. I was like, pretty much just gave away my ranking. I was looking. I'm like, pretty much what I got.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't even have to write anything
that's how I
down.
have
Like
4, 3, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
so.
So I like the body snatchers a little more than the invasion, but the invasion was a little rough.
Yeah, that's a tough flick. So, but okay, so that's yeah. I agree with you. You agree with me, and we agree with Screen Rant.
Hey,
So.
we for the first time we have a rating that actually matches. To
Fireworks. I'm
do
kind
like
of
some
pretending to do
fireworks or
fireworks.
something. I don't know. We don't do. We're not professional in here, are we?
This is the best we could do with special effects for the computer too. My fingers. Or the Rocky dun 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 dun, you know, that type of thing. So, all right, sir. Do we have anything else, or should we wrap this up?
Yeah, man. I mean, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, all the movies. Don't take our word for it. Go check them out for yourselves and make your own decision. Maybe you may like the Invasion more than any of them. I'd say you're crazy, but that's
Yeah.
but that's your art is your up to your interpretation. If you get to decide what you like. I can't tell you what you're allowed to like. You're not allowed to tell me what I'm allowed to like. And me and John, we don't even tell each other what we like or don't like. We find out as soon as we hit the record. So
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I like doing that. I've told when I've done these things with Jonathan Moody, I'm like, stop texting me. I don't want to know your opinion on anything. Save it for the video.
exactly.
I don't want to know.
Because I was doing that at one point. I was telling you like, hey, shoot, don't tell me nothing. Wait till we get to the video. So okay, so I started doing that. So what I do is I'll write down like, mainly I watch the movies like a day or two before we do this, so they're all fresh in my mind.
Yeah, I'm lucky on pretty much all of these, except for the ripoffs that I've seen them all multiple times. So it's but it's yeah, I would tell people still watch, you know, the original remake, then Body Snatchers, because I think it is kind of its own little trilogy. You could watch The Invasion anywhere, and you know, because that's the standalone. Skip,
This one.
yeah, then go to that one.
Then this one.
Then that one.
And if you're feeling brave enough, you can watch this. But
It's
if
just that ending, man. That ending kills me. I love the shuttlecraft. I love all that stuff, but man, that ending.
Again, I will say this. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. So I think I like that they tried to do something original with it. I like that they tried to do something more creative than just, copy and paste the book.
Right.
Or copy and paste the remake or the original. Just kind of did their own thing. But
well,
if you're gonna say something's based on it, at least try to be more. At least have a better script or something. You know what I mean?
It looks like they did at one point, and then they ended up. Who did this?
They kind of like now it's all choppy and because that was because when I first saw it, I was kind of like, man, what is going on here? Why is this so choppy? Why is the editing so like I don't even know, man. It's like the dude had like these. Like I'm wondering if people have like seizures over the cutting of it because of how like it was like I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, there's definitely
not,
some. I think because they took a film that they knew wasn't very good, and that's where they started giving it to other filmmakers. Like, oh shit, fix this thing, and there was really nothing they couldn't fix it. I mean, they did fine with part 3. That was Warner Brothers, and then The Invasion is Warner Brothers. but I think that they tried to do more of a modern take on it, which maybe
Mhm.
was a mistake. Like modern takes are fine. Like Independence Day, where if you look at the original War of the Worlds, it was the common cold that
Mhm.
killed the aliens, right? So, okay, so what do we do in Independence Day to kind of update that since this is basically just a remake? Oh, we do a virus, but a computer virus. So we have to fly up there, put the virus in, and then get out before everything gets messed up. That's a good way to update stuff.
Yeah.
But this just didn't. I was with it until that ending. Oh, here's my newspaper I'm going to put down. Surprised I'm here. No, I'm not. No, I don't know. I don't like this at all.
We kind we kind of seen the ending. Like we kind of seen that coming from a mile away when she shot him in the leg.
Yeah, at some point he had to pop back up. So it's, and I don't even mind if this is a a reshot ending, and if he popped up at the end and maybe it was a little more darker. I mean, that's fine. He could have a limp, but yeah, I just didn't. Yeah, yeah. And go see, Puppet Masters is still good, even with its flaws. Just skip the ripoffs. That's all. Unless you really want to torture yourself, then watch both of those back to back,
I
like
may
I
watch
did.
the seed people. The
It's fun. It's fun, but I don't think.
I might check that one out. The Asylum movie, I'm probably going to skip.
Yeah, it's. I told Jonathan that I didn't like See People that much. I thought it was boring, and he's like, "Oh, we just reviewed it. I loved it." So I guess him and Paul reviewed it for their channel, and they're like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we really like that movie." But they like bad films, and I don't like bad movies anymore. So
yeah.
I can't do it. It's I don't know. I would rather watch this over Seed People again.
Well, I mean, I'm good with bad movies as long as you're doing it intentionally, or you're doing it like okay, you're making it a fun bad, like it's so bad it's good kind of deal. But if you're making a movie that's just bad, like it's unwatchable. Like I watched a movie a couple years ago. It was Zombie Beasts of the Confederacy or something like that, which sounded like a cool movie because a buddy of mine that lives where I am was in it,
Okay.
and I was like, it was only supposed to be 80 minutes, and it was like an almost 2 hour movie, and I'm like,
No,
dude,
there's
this
no reason
movie
why
is
something.
garbage. I it there
No, nothing like that needs to be 2 hours. So, well, that's the thing
no.
with Seed People is there's obviously the full moon budget that probably
Mhm.
most of their movies have.
Yeah.
It's you got 7 days to make the movie, so there are limitations, but they do a good job as far as sound, picture,
Yeah.
acting. Even the girl who plays like the 20-year-old who plays the 14-year-old girl, as I'm sure she's a good actress, she's probably fine. She just
Mhm.
can't pull off that age, but
Mhm.
it just looked kind of weird. But when you have, and maybe Invasion of the Pod People was the same way. You got 7 days. Here's $5,000. Go do your thing. Well, maybe
I mean,
see people at
there's
10,000.
people we know that make movies in like 4 days.
Yeah, I mean the stuff that I've worked on out here, like with Joe Lujan, I mean, we could shoot something in a few days and it looks like $1 million compared to some of this stuff. So that's why I
I
don't
mean,
understand bad sound
it
and
depends. It depends on what you do in the editing because I've learned from the movies I made. A lot of my movies are not that great. I admit that, but a lot of it when I first shot it to when it got to the editing software where I can mess with it. I can tweak it, make it black and white, make this, do that. It turns out to be a little bit better. Now
yeah,
that's up
these
to the person
these
who watched
days.
it if it's good or not. But
Well, these days with the programs that you can purchase, yeah, you could just remove the AC and then it's fine. But back then, I don't think that you really could do that. But you have to know that you're filming one character, and let's say they do 2 or 3 takes, that the sound person should be like, oh fuck, we left the AC on. Do we go back? Because literally, if you watch the movie, her desk is right above a vent.
Mhm.
and you got the huge metal tube. And it's like, shit, do we go back and reshoot this? We'll turn off the AC. Or do we now shoot everybody with the AC on?
Yeah. Well, what I did was when I did my first movie, which was a short film called Mystery Box of Horrors. Um, there was a scene where I was in the bathroom. I was looking at the mirror. Well, when I shot the scene, I didn't realize I forgot to turn the water back on, and so the first scene you see, you hear the water on, then you don't hear the water on. So I had to go and like record, like basically take the audio from the one and then kind of like place it over top of that, so at least it sounded like running waters. The water was still on, even
That's
though it
yeah,
wasn't.
that's what you have to do. So that's why they do room tone. So you can get
Continuity
that
counts,
that
people.
constant
Continuity
tone.
counts.
Yeah. So if you realize, oh shit, say you don't even think about it and you're back in the editing bay and you're like, oh crap, this person has air conditioning, this person doesn't, you
Mhm.
then need to go record air conditioning. You could probably find it on YouTube, just air conditioning sound.
Either
But you
that, or
need
you just take the like a scene of where you had like you recorded like 20 minutes of B roll or something of the room, and the air conditioner's on at that point. Just take that clip, take it over to convert it to audio, and then just put it on the back, put it
yeah,
underneath the clip.
there's ways of doing it, which is why when I saw certain people worked on Invasion of the Pod People, I'm like, oh come on, guys, you've made movies before. Come on, you know this. Full Moon isn't always, they're kind of hit and miss with me, and some of their stuff is good and some of it's kind of boring. And I think Sea People falls in the middle of that. But Invasion of the Pod People is just kind of, I don't know. To me, it's unexcusable. So I'll
If
like
I
I said,
find it for $1, I might pick it up, but I'm not paying more than $1 for it.
all right. With that being said, okay, so we'll end this. We got another
Yeah.
one done, another one in the
Yep.
can
Woo-hoo.
on the last day of the month. This will be out later today, probably in like 2 hours. So we can get as many views as we can before the end of the month. So, all right, everybody. Thank you. If you made it to the end, we appreciate it. Thank you, Donald.
No
Appreciate it.
problem. We'll see you
Now we
next
just
time.
have to, yeah, now we just have to figure out what we're going to do next. Maybe do something with 1 or 2 movies instead of like 5,
Okay.
6.
We'll
So,
figure it out.
yeah, we got time. Well, we said that last time, and here we are at the last day of the month. We always say that. All right. Okay, everybody. Talk to you later. See you on the next one. Bye.
Take
Bye,
it easy,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye. Bye.